Welcome into NFL Daily Live here on Chat Sports. I am Chase Sr. He is the football guru, Tom Downey, producer Jack Lauderay on the ones and twos. We are about 2 hours away from the official start of the 2022 National Football League year. NFL Free Agency Day 3 coming your way, and we're going to be reacting to all of these moves as they happen. But first, got to give a shout out to the audience. No matter where you're watching or how you're watching, we appreciate you for making Chat Sports a part of your day. And let's get that comment section popping.
Yeah.
Nearly 300 people watching live. Let us know right now, up to this point, your biggest NFL free agency winner. Get the comment section flowing. But first, TD, how are you?
I'm doing good. Feel better. It was a rough day for all Cowboys fans yesterday.
It was.
And they've done nothing, but very quiet day so far, by the way. Suspiciously quiet, even though the new league year is about to start. It's been... I thought there would be more moves, and that's not been the case at this point. Very, very curious and interesting there.
Yeah, so we'll see if any more players spurn their respective teams. Yesterday it was Randy Gregory. Today, J.D. McKissick. Looked as though yesterday he was going to sign on and latch on with the Buffalo Bills. He goes back to the Washington Commanders. I want to give some shout-outs to those who are watching. 400 people watching live. You guys are the best. If you haven't subscribed, homies, you ain't alive. Hit that big red sub button down below for the best and year-round NFL news and rumors. Gamer Outcast is in the chat. He's saying, breaking news, are the Niners signing Tyrann Mathieu? No, I don't think they have the money to do so.
No
Although
fake
they did
news in the
clear up some
comments.
cap money today by restructuring the contracts of George Kittle and Eric Armstead. Most of that, though, to make room for Charvarius Ward. Loyal to the game, Salinas Norte, what it do? Bucks from Rashard Lee, Chargers from Justin Rigney, Dolphins get the Brown center from Light Gaming.
I would love that
Talking
move.
about J.C. Treader.
I'd love that.
Yeah, me too. They need to bulk up that offensive line. Cowboys get Matt Ioannidis, former Temple product. That's where yours truly went to school.
I'm also down.
Good
He's
interior
a
defensive
good
lineman.
player.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
agent, by the way, is livid because apparently and allegedly the Commanders told him we're not going to cut you at the combine.
And they did.
And now they did.
Yeah.
And that's rough.
Nobody's ever lied before, right?
Of course not. No one ever lies.
Especially politicians.
You cannot lie on the internet. Fun fact. It's impossible.
Dusty Rhodes, Patriots, LOL. They've had an LOL-like free agency period. Producer Jack knows all about that.
He's
a
down
Patriots
real
fan.
bad still.
Gamer Dude is back. Atlanta Falcons. What up, Gamer Dude?
There we go.
Mike Brady, biggest losers, Washington. Will the Bucks get the Honey Badger? Yeah, I don't think so. What do you think?
I think
They
they're-
lost Whitehead.
Yeah, but they've got safeties still that they'll be able to play. They've got, who's the guy that I love? Antoine Winfield and Mike Edwards. So, sure, if you want to bring in Honey Badger, no one's going to complain. But I feel like they're going to invest more in fixing that defensive line, adjusting the tight end spot and running back as well. That's just a bigger need.
Elijah Davis asking a question. Where is Mitchell Rents? You'll be living rent-free in his head if you ask him that question. He's right over
He's
there.
probably going to go play some more beer pong on the Raiders Report
He's
today.
going to make the company a lot of money by going live on the Raiders Report. 10 hours of live coverage for him, and the Raiders, have barely done
He's been
anything.
live for 50 hours the past 2 days.
Yeah, insane. Literally. Even though that's not even possible. But, literally. Biggest NFL free agency loser. We talked about some of the winners so far, and in the process, some of you mentioned teams like the New England Patriots, Washington as losers. Let us know who you think the losers are in NFL free agency. We'll give you some more shout-outs. 674 people watching live. That number only going to continue to grow all throughout the day as we are bringing you several hours of commercial-free football. Losers, Dallas Cowboys from Tom Downey's burner account. Tom?
Cowboys fans down bad, understandably so.
Joe Flores, Steelers. I actually kind of like what they've done. Making some roster moves on the peripheries.
I think the O-line investment, namely James Daniels, I'm a big fan of that particular move.
Chua, Niners, Charvarius Ward. I kind of like the signing.
Cowboys
Dallas
legend.
Hughes, man. Yes. Cowboys legend. Very briefly out of Middle Tennessee State.
Traded him for Parker Ehringer, who did absolutely nothing. Disastrous trade by them.
E&M, the Jaguars. Look, they've been aggressive, but they have spent a lot of money.
I love all of their moves except the wide receiver ones.
Yeah.
Because the wide receiver ones are terrible.
Yeah. Why not just bring back DJ Chark instead of giving
Why are you throwing money at Zay Jones and Christian Kirk?
so much money?
You spent all this money on receiver, and you still need a number one receiver. That's not ideal.
Yeah, weird. We have some super chats that are coming in. We start off, Tom Downey's burner account. He has a new picture. Okay. New picture from that Niners game. As the host of the Niners Report, I kind of like it.
Yeah,
he says,
sure
legal ways to remove the Joneses. I'm desperate. Tom, I know you're on that train.
Yeah, I'm going to put the once I can get the share link, I'm going to put the change.org petition in to make me the new Cowboys owner. That's what I'm thinking of doing here.
Put it in.
I got to get the right link.
How many signatures on that piece?
203.
203 signatures so far. This is what Tom said on
for
Twitter
just
yesterday.
shit posting.
And producer extraordinary Sam Brown had started a petition.org movement to make Tom Downey the head of football operations. Stephen Jones getting ready to go to work. He's at the Clown Motel. Not a big fan of Stephen Jones, are you?
Yeah. No, I don't trust him as owner. He's just not good. He's just not good.
Leading the movement. Javier Gutierrez, thank you so much for your donation. Trade Dak Prescott for Baker Mayfield. Oh, my goodness. Tom, take it away. It's your floor. Yes, that's the move. Yep. With those super chats,
I assume,
with that thought we're drinking.
I assume he's trolling because why would you get a vastly worse QB and also incur a bunch of dead money?
Yeah, amen.
It's kind of my mindset.
$2 super chat from Game Geek. Not Gamer Dude. What's going on with the Arizona Cardinals? They really haven't made any moves, and there hasn't been any movement really with Arizona so far. Lost Jordan Hicks to the Minnesota Vikings, and that's about it, right?
Yeah, you re-sign Colt McCoy.
Colt McCoy, yep.
And that's it. So very quiet so far out of Arizona. They don't have that many needs. They did bring back James Conner.
That's right.
They lost Chase Edmonds, so I'm looking corner and maybe an interior offensive lineman would make sense for Arizona. Oh, and figure out what happens with Chandler Jones. Maybe that's what they're waiting on in the end.
By the way, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, the official start of the new NFL league year. That's when all of these moves will officially become official because, 1, we know the salary cap isn't real, and 2, tampering isn't a thing. So thank you for that $2 donation from Game Geek. We have another 2-piece coming in from Massive Matt. Still in shambles about Gregory. Move on, though. If you pick up Von Miller, does it make up for the loss?
I think you feel even better about picking up Von Miller than you do Randy Gregory, depending, of course, on the contract. But it would be a change of pace for the Cowboys to go pay a big-time outside free agent. They do not do that.
Yeah, and Jane Slater reporting yesterday of NFL Network that the interest in Von Miller, somewhat mutual, and they're, quote, working on it. Has that changed over the last about 24 hours? We'll see.
Kind of feels like everyone's just kind of waiting on more moves to go down here.
Tom Downey's burner account, another $2 super chat, you demand. Tom, did you hear about what D-Law heard about Stephen Jones? Well, what he said about Stephen Jones is that he almost asked to get cut, right? Outright cut because of a 1-year, $10 million offer.
This is not unusual to the Cowboys, which is a whole different problem we can get into on maybe a Cowboys-only show. Stephen Jones said Tank will give you 1 year, $10 million. And Tank said, "How dare you? No, just cut me if that's what you're going to do." Allegedly, Stephen said, "Well, Jerry's not going to pay you more." And then Tank talked to Jerry, and Daddy Jerry came through and said, "No, we'll take care of this." Still going to be a team-friendly deal, 3 years, $40 million. But like, if Jerry's not there, what happens? I see people say, "Well, they're playing good cop, bad cop." I don't know if that's what you want to be doing in free agency. Like, that might not be the best way of going about it. Also, what happens when Jerry's gone?
Yep.
Who's the good cop then? Is it suddenly Steven?
Yeah.
It's just dicey.
Yeah.
So
a big reason why you should be subscribed to us here at Chat Sports on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel. On Monday, we were live for 8 straight hours. Yesterday, we were live for 6, 7 straight hours. Today, we're going to be live for a long time. And it's all commercial-free. And we react to these deals as soon as they happen, including this one that just came across. Signing with the Seattle Seahawks is Uchenna Nwosu.
Nailed it.
2-year, $20 million deal, $10.5 million guaranteed. As the pronunciation king, Sam Brown, you have to be proud of me right there.
That was good. That's
Give me
not
a round of applause.
That is not an easy name to say. I'm sure I'll butcher it at some point too. We finally got action.
Yes.
Seahawks did something. Outside free agent. This was the edge rusher opposite Bosa for years. The Seahawks are moving to a true 3-4 style scheme as they've made changes on that defensive side of the ball. Nwosu, a former USC player, gets to go play for Pete Carroll. Of course, they didn't overlap timing. Doesn't work out there at all. The goal there is to give them some edge rushing help. $10 million a year. I think that's a lot for him. Yeah. As weird as the edge rusher market can be, that's a lot for a guy coming off his best year ever of 5 sacks.
Look, if there's one thing we know about the Seattle Seahawks this offseason so far and in free agency, they have not been scared to spend money. A lot of overpays. Will Dissly, $8 million per year. That's a lot. Yeah. Now, Uchenna Nwosu, he's getting really hefty sum to sign on with Seattle for 2 years as they make that switch to a 3-4 defense. Seahawks fans, if you're tuned into us here on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, Seattle Seahawks today is humming. Little more than 200 people away from 25,000 subscribers. So make sure that you go to youtube.com/SeahawksTV for free daily videos on the Seattle Seahawks. We keep you in the know better than any other YouTube channel out there. $5 Super Chat coming in from Mr. Antlers.
I'll drink for that one.
Juju, please go to the Chicago Bears. I'm looking at Harrison Graham, host of Chicago Bears Now. Give me a head nod if you want Juju Smith-Schuster, Harrison. He's tapped into the phone. He doesn't even know that I'm talking to him.
Sad.
But Harrison, I am talking to you right now. React to this Super Chat. Juju to the Bears. Would you like it?
He's not
rolling into the studio. Yes.
Thumbs up would have worked too.
Harrison Graham for 3. Yes. Wet. Juju. Wet. Yeah, what do you think about that fit, Tom?
I'm all for it. I mean, the Bears need receiver help. I like Darnell Mooney. Beyond that, they've got nothing. So I'm all for it. I don't know what the contract looks like. Maybe $5 million on a 1-year deal. He coming off injury. You got $8 million last year. Feels about right, and you can still then draft someone as you've got plenty of day 2 picks now.
So this is actually pretty interesting. We just got asked via Super Chat what's going on with the Arizona Cardinals. A buy low potential nice little upgrade here in Jeff Gladney. Interesting scenario and story behind him. Went to TCU. First round pick in 2020, 31st overall. Was found not guilty for what, domestic violence charges?
Yeah, it was assault
charges a couple of months ago. What do you know about him as our NFL draft expert?
Basically what he was charged with choking somebody. Yeah. Choking a woman.
Charged.
He was found not guilty, so that feels very important. That's why Gladney is getting another shot here in the NFL. Minnesota cut him basically immediately after he was charged, and that was less than a week ago in which he was found not guilty. So now he gets to go to Arizona from an on-field only perspective, since that's what really matters at this point. You have Marco Wilson, who was up and down as a rookie. I like Byron Murphy. Gladney could be a starter for them depending on what other moves they make. This is an intriguing, buy low upside play for a former first pick. Well, I liked a lot coming out of TCU. Of course, he'd still be in Minnesota had he not been charged.
Yeah, 31st overall selection, as we talked about in the 2020 draft, was released by Minnesota after only 1 season due to those legal issues involving domestic violence. On March 10th, he was found not guilty. So a little less than a week ago, he's now getting a fresh start with the Cardinals and fulfilling a need at that cornerback spot for Arizona as they continue to bulk up that defense. They did lose Jordan Hicks, at least seemingly as of now, to the Minnesota Vikings, the team that Gladney comes to Arizona from. Now, we did have some Super Chats come in. We'll get to those in a few minutes, but first, we're going to break down in further detail this signing for the Seattle Seahawks of Uchenna Nwosu that's coming your way right now, live here on Chat Sports. You're watching Seattle Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. He is Tom Downey. Appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. Seattle continues to be aggressive in the NFL free agency market, and they ain't scared to pay and maybe even overpay. This move just made official moments ago. That's why you subscribe to the channel, because we bring you this news faster than anybody else here on YouTube. Uchenna Nwosu, formerly of the Los Angeles Chargers, signing with Seattle. It's a 2-year deal worth $20 million, $10.5 million guaranteed. Tom, you like the player? Do you like the contract?
It's almost a 1-year deal with the way the guaranteed money's structured. You'd probably say it's not that big of a signing bonus. You guarantee, let's say a $6 million base this year. You got a $4.5 million signing bonus, and now you can get out of the deal if you need to next year. $10 million a year is a lot for a player who's coming off his best year ever of 5 sacks. It's not great value. I know that the Seahawks wanted edge rusher help. I was wondering maybe they could look for a Zadarius Smith, a different edge rusher, go bigger for a Von Miller, a Chandler Jones. They missed out on a Hassan Reddick. This is similar to the Sam Hubbard deal, so it's not terrible. I don't think it's immense value. What you're banking on here is a player who has gotten more production each and every single year. I think is better as a pass rusher than he is a run stopper, and fits this defense that Seattle's moving to pretty darn well. So I get what they're going for. I don't love the move. It's also not their worst move that they've made so far. So it's a fine pickup, I guess, in the end.
Yeah, that Will Dissly move was really weird. $8 million per year for a backup tight end who's going to be behind on the depth chart to Noah Fant. We're going to continue to break this move down in further detail. I certainly have some thoughts on it. But first, I want you to treat the comment section here on YouTube like a Sports Talk Radio call-in line and grade the move. Nwosu to Seattle. Scale it for us, A, B, C, D, or F. How would you grade it? You let us know. Now, obviously, of significance, it was the offseason move to bring in Clint Hurt, longtime defensive line coach, in as defensive coordinator. He replaces Ken Norton, who was let go by Pete Carroll. The Seahawks defense was really trending downward the last couple of years. And in making this move, you're looking to really fortify that defensive line, get a pass rusher, which is obviously a huge position of importance, but also you're changing schemes here too. How do you think Nwosu fits in this new 3-4 scheme that Hurt's going to run?
He's going to play the similar role he's played in the past. That 3-4 outside linebacker role is where he'll slot in. And when you look at what Seattle had at that position on the roster, namely beyond Darrell Taylor, there weren't that many guys who really fit that. Alton Robinson can play a little bit, but he's probably more of your edge 3, edge 4 than he is someone that you want starting. Carlos Dunlap will probably be a rotation piece for you on third downs. Kerry Hyder is more of your defensive end style player. So of those true, real 3-4 edges, guys that can set the run at the edge spot, can come off the edge and blitz, and drop into coverage every now and then, since you're not always going to bring 5 guys when you're in base. Nwosu does fit that mold. This is your 3-4 outside linebacker. If you run some 4-3 fronts, that's your Sam-style linebacker. Seattle's going to stick in the 3-4. This is more of that Bruce Irvin-style player, not quite the same level of impact pass rusher for all you Seahawks fans out there. But that's what you're getting with him. You're going to slot him in at probably starting one of your outside linebacker positions to ensure that you've got extra players on that area. And that will be a big deal. Now, I think you're going to still use Carlos Dunlap. Overall, this defense is in a much better position. They added Shelby Harris, too. That front is getting better and better. And I think they're not done yet. I still think, Chase, there is a very good chance, especially if they don't go QB or what happens at left tackle offensive line. I think edge is still a priority for this team early in the draft because Nwosu, Taylor, you probably want one more guy to pair as a true edge in the end.
Some big news here on NFL Daily. Chandler Jones going to the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll get to that on our live show on Chat Sports here in a few moments, but we'll continue to talk about Nwosu going to Seattle. You take a look at their 3-4 defensive line depth chart there. Obviously some good players along that front who are really going to be able to give you some versatility, rush the passer, have some guys who can drop back in coverage. Nwosu has a little bit of experience doing that. So for that reason, I can see why Seahawks fans are excited about the move. And if you are excited, how many wins do you think that Seattle's going to have this next year here in 2022? Coming off a down year, obviously it's a transitional offseason so far for Seattle. You lose a franchise icon in Russell Wilson. That same draft, you were able to bring in Bobby Wagner as well. Both of those guys can't bound as future Hall of Famers. So how many wins do you think the Seahawks will have this next year? Let us know in the comment section right now. And while you're down there, hit that big red subscribe button, because we're bringing you the best Seahawks news and rumors year-round, every single day on Seattle Seahawks Today. We're trying to get to 25,000 subs, and we're a little more than 200 people away, so make sure you subscribe to the channel for the best Seahawks coverage here on YouTube. You transition to the team needs this offseason for the Seahawks. Where do you think they go next? Obviously, outside of quarterback is why I asked that question, because they still don't have a quarterback unless they're going to move forward with Drew Lock.
Yeah, the needs I have not updated since Tuesday, or I should say Monday night, but it actually hasn't changed at all for Seattle. Yeah, they went out and they added a corner in Artie Burns and brought back Sidney Jones. They also, however, lost their best one in DJ Reed. I would love to go get a corner. I think that'd be a fantastic idea for Seattle. I'm not sure that's the route they go. I think the immediate next path is figure out your tackle position. Now, I wonder if Dwayne Brown is waiting for the Teron Armstead market to get figured out there, who Armstead might be waiting on Deshaun Watson, and it's just kind of a trickle-down chaos effect once that begins to go. I would look at tackle because Dwayne Brown's a free agent. Brandon Shell's a free agent. You lost Jamarco Jones. Well, lost. It's not that big of a deal. That leaves Stone Forsythe and Jake Curran as your tackles. That's not exactly a good position. I think center is also an area of need. Linebacker, too. They got plenty of needs. They still got a lot of cap to spend. I got to double-check the numbers. It's probably over $30 million at this point. It's a matter of how aggressive are they going to be. Like, Nwosu's a young player. He's like 25, I think. His age 26 season is coming up. So you can still have him be a piece of whether it's a 2 or 3 year rebuild or a 1 or 2 year rebuild. He still fits that timeline pretty well.
Yeah, I'm looking at trying to pull up the Seahawks cap numbers here.
They're always a little loosey-goosey these days.
Yeah.
I got it at 40, actually.
Before, and obviously this deal has to be made official when the new league year hits in a little less than 2 hours, but according to Over the Cap, $39.6 million. So you were right there in your estimation of the Seahawks cap space.
33-ish with this move being factored in.
Look, and let's be real. I mean, there are rumors out there about them trying to fulfill their quarterback need, maybe making a trade for Baker Mayfield. Real quickly, just want to get your thoughts on that potential possibility because I just don't envision, with the 70-plus-year-old coach in Pete Carroll, rebuilding, not having a quarterback, moving forward with Drew Lock. Why wouldn't you try to make a trade for Baker Mayfield, who wrote a love letter to Cleveland last night?
Yeah, it's a really weird situation for Seattle because you've got a head coach that wants to win right now, but the rest of your roster isn't exactly in ideal shape at this point. So it's curious as things sit right now for Seattle. I think they're going to explore the market. I would almost wonder if they want to wait a year and then figure out what the plan's going to be.
Yeah, okay, so there you go. Will the Seahawks make another move? We just got done telling you, $39 million in cap space. Of course, that number is somewhat fluid. Let us know why for yes, N for no. Get that comment section popping. A huge move for the Las Vegas Raiders. 2 moves, because this is pretty fascinating. The first, Chandler Jones, really good pass rusher, stellar for the Arizona Cardinals, 10.5 sacks, I believe, last year, is going to make a big splash, go to Las Vegas, and in the process, it looks as though the Raiders are going to trade Yannick Ngakoue to the Colts for cornerback Rock Ya-Sin, another former Temple product. As we've talked a lot about these former Temple players, huge moves for the Raiders. I don't really understand, I guess from a salary cap perspective, that's why you trade Yannick Ngakoue, but he was pretty good for the Raiders last year. Younger, too, than Chandler Jones.
I like Rock Ya-Sin.
Yeah,
I guess
do too.
Maybe the Raiders didn't think Yannick was a great fit, Yannick was a great fit for their new scheme, but I kind of think that he is. Maybe they really wanted Rock Ya-Sin, who, first off, elite name, had a very good year at corner for the Indianapolis Colts, and now the Colts, they've really solidified their edge rushing need. They've got, they brought back Tyquan Lewis. They drafted 2 guys last year, so edge is in fantastic shape for that organization. Corner now becomes a pretty big need beyond Kenny Moore, and maybe Isaiah Rodgers is a piece for you as well, but massive chaos here right on cue.
Another move that we want to get you updated with is Joe Flacco going back to the New York Jets. He's signing a 1-year, $3.5 million deal. I'll say this, his playoff run in 2012 en route to the Super Bowl, one of the best of all time. 11 touchdowns to 0 picks. He once again is going to back up Zach Wilson. Joe Flacco did get traded from Philadelphia, an area in which he grew up in the Pennsylvania area, got traded to the Jets to back up Zach Wilson. Actually had to play when there were some COVID and injury issues at the quarterback spot for the New York Jets, but they get their backup with Flacco.
It's fine with me.
Yeah.
It was kind of a weird trade because they weren't going to start him and all kinds of chaos there. Mike White, briefly a legend in the NFL. I got no problems bringing him in as your backup QB. That's what Flacco is at this stage in his NFL career. Of course, you're all about rebuilding and building up Zach Wilson. But the Raiders side of this here, just absolute chaos, man.
It
Absolute
really
chaos.
is. And speaking of that, one-word reaction to Chandler Jones going to the Raiders, and in turn, Yannick Ngakoue being sent to the Indianapolis Colts in exchange for Rock Ya-Sin. So the Raiders bring in one of the best pass rushers that we've seen really over the last decade in terms of sack numbers. They trade away another pass rusher, but also they fulfill a big need at the cornerback spot with Rock Ya-Sin, who I believe was a second-round pick out of Temple.
Second-round pick out of Temple. That's your boy.
Yes, that is my boy. So one-word reaction. We'll give you some shout-outs here as we have 2,000 people watching live as that figure continues to grow like crazy. Let's see.
I'm gonna build the trade here for us.
Mad, Steele, Brilliant, Okay from King Colin, Wow from Sterling, Weird from Dusty Rhodes. Look, you trade away Yannick Ngakoue for Chandler Jones, and now he's going to be opposite. What's up? Okay, cool. Yeah, so Mitchell Wren's going to go live on the Las Vegas Raiders report. I'm being told he could go live for 24 straight hours. We'll see if that ends up being a lie or not. He's been live for 50 straight hours up to this point, so 24 more. It's going to get crazy over on the Raiders report. So if you don't know about the Raiders report, it's the biggest Raiders channel on YouTube, and Mitchell Wren's is always down to party. He's going to be partying with Raider Nation after the news of this deal. Luis De Los Santos, $2 super chat. What's going on with Allen Robinson? It's been pretty silent market for him, Tom. Allen Robinson.
I think that the Christian Kirk market kind of messed up a lot for receivers. Everyone's asking for more now.
Yeah. No, that's a good thought there. $5 super chat from Sean. Certainly drink to that.
Your turn to drink.
If you were Chris Ballard, which team are you wanting to grab Deshaun Watson so you can target their quarterback? Indianapolis, really quiet with the largest salary cap number.
Atlanta, right? So you can get Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan.
Kind of go all in right now?
Middle tier option, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo. You had thrown out a pretty decent idea, I think, of maybe Marcus Mariota as your bridge quarterback, and then you draft somebody like Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati in the second round or something like that. I could see Indianapolis going that route. But look, this is a roster that's ready to win right now. And by trading for Yannick Ngakoue, you team him up on that defensive line with DeForest Buckner. You have Darius Leonard at that linebacker spot. That right there is a team that is ready to compete for a playoff spot and potentially go after a Super Bowl. They're just missing the most important position in football, that quarterback spot. So here is the trade alert. This happened because Chandler Jones is going from the Arizona Cardinals to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders up to this point were extremely silent in free agency. No longer. Big splash. Colts get Yannick Ngakoue, who signed with the Raiders last year in NFL free agency. Raiders get Rock Ya-Sin. $5 super chat. He-Man Huckleberry.
My turn to drink.
Now that the Vikings missed out on Chandler Jones, what should the Vikings do? Looks like the new brass in town, old fired brass.
The link of Chandler Jones to Minnesota was basically because of an Instagram he posted where he was dressed up in a suit going to a game in Minnesota. That's kind of the forecast there. I didn't think they were really in the market. Now, maybe that ends up being not the case and we find out more information, but I didn't think they were going to get into a bidding war there. I think for Minnesota, figure out the Danielle Hunter contract is probably step number one. Honestly, maybe you just draft an edge rusher early this year. I know you've had guys in recent years you spent decent draft capital on, but I would be looking draft more than spending big money for a team that just doesn't have that much available at the current moment without restructuring a bunch of deals.
Some more additional reporting on this Chandler Jones movement. Ian Rappaport of NFL Network saying this trade has been in the works for about 24 hours.
Interesting.
But the Raiders needed a pass rusher first. First Chandler Jones, then the swing to complete the deal. So there you go. Who is the best NFL free agent left? Chandler Jones is one of the best ones on the open market. No longer, so where does that leave us now? Von Miller, Stephon Gilmore, Allen Robinson, all notable names. You let us know. Teron Armstead. You let us know in the comment section. We'll give you some shout-outs here. Von Miller, Bobby Wagner. That's another good name.
Stephon Gilmore, Honey Badger.
Stephon Gilmore, yep, talked about him. Tyrann Mathieu, Juju Smith-Schuster,
Jackson
Mahomes from Mariah. That's hilarious. What an all-time stiff he is.
Big Rudy said Gilmore to the Vikings. Corner, I would actually like to see them add somebody older, whether it is maybe it's just straight up bring back Patrick Peterson. Maybe do go big and go get Gilmore, though.
Robert
or Casey
Moore,
Hayward.
Earl Thomas, drink. Yes.
Also, prediction for Indy, now having traded away Rocky Sin, I bet they go sign Casey Hayward next.
Casey Hayward, that would make sense.
Gets to go back with Gus Bradley.
Yep.
That's going to be my early prediction right now.
Yeah, after playing pretty well under Gus Bradley this past year. Max Williams re-signing with the Arizona Cardinals. That's the newest deal to happen on day 3 of NFL free agency, as really it was silent up until we went live. Then there started to be a lot of movement. The biggest movement so far, Chandler Jones to the Las Vegas Raiders. We just talked about that deal right here on NFL Daily.
Yeah,
Give some more shout-outs here.
One of the local beat reporters shares on it says 1-year deal for Max Williams, by the way.
Okay. Daddy Dino, Miles Jack in terms of the best free agent left. Leonard Fournette from Brianna Matthews. Von Miller from Jordan. Gilmore to the Cowboys. Rashard Lee. Juju is the best free agent. A lot of big names out there. And we were talking about this earlier in the Chat Sports offices. Like, I do think that Deshaun Watson and that trade not happening yet, once it does, it's going to set the foundation for a lot of other players to go to certain destinations. Like, let's say Deshaun Watson does get traded to the Atlanta Falcons. Does that open up an opportunity for a player like Allen Robinson to go to Atlanta? Because they just lost Russell Gage. So a lot of movement could take place after Deshaun Watson, including maybe a Jimmy Garoppolo trade.
I think that could certainly make some sense. We got a super chat, by the way, from Mark, who's y'all's top 10 free agents. Well, we have the listicle. I built this out, or actually had Tyler build it out for us. Now, one of them is gone, but that's okay. We'll do it on the fly here. This is not really in order, kind of saving the best for last here. Dwayne Brown, Gronk, Akeem Hicks, Jameis Winston, Kyle Van Noy. Any of those guys jump out to you there, Trace?
Trace or Chase?
Chase. I don't know why I said Trace. That was weird. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, look, Akeem Hicks, good defensive tackle. We'll see if Gronk comes basically out of de facto retirement to team back up with Tom Brady. Dwayne Brown, good player, getting a little bit older. Jameis Winston, maybe if the Saints miss out on Deshaun Watson, they decide to bring Jameis back coming off that torn ACL. I still think Kyle Van Noy can play. What he lacks in athleticism, he makes up for it in football IQ. And then some of these other players, Casey Hayward, Jadeveon Clowney, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyrann Mathieu, Bobby Wagner, all very good players too. This is also pretty notable. What's next in the pass rush world from Ian Rappaport?
Yeah.
Rams working to bring back Von Miller. Nothing done. Other teams are still pushing, but they are convinced, Los Angeles is, that he's headed back to the defending Super Bowl champions.
I mean, Cowboys fans down bad, but we warned you. They don't spend big in free agency. That's not what they do. It is what it is. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, we could.
Can't wait till they give Dorrance Armstrong $5 million a year. Can't wait. Or
yeah.
10 at this point.
We could catch up on some super chats too, because
Yeah.
I believe some have come in over the last several minutes that we were not able to get to. A little bit of a standing still period right now. 2,600 people watching live. If you haven't subscribed, do so right now for the best NFL news and rumors coverage. Free daily videos here at Chat Sports. Also cover college football and the NBA here at the company. Robbie, $2 super chat. Matt Corral or Malik Willis for the Seahawks? You're our draft expert. What do you say?
I would go Malik Willis over Matt Corral. I just think that Willis is a better football or better upside.
I agree.
Like I like Corral. The Ole Miss offense, I think the Liberty offense too, were not great for developing and IDing particular players. Matt Corral ran a RPO play action dominant offense. That's kind of all that they did. They didn't have a whole lot more from that perspective. I think he 60% of his passes were off of play action or RPOs. That's fine, by the way. But people, I'd say, incorrectly argued that Justin Fields was a one-read QB. Yep. That makes Matt Corral like a quarter-read QB because he just didn't do that. Willis has a lot more risk. He needs the time to develop, to grow, be a better pocket passer. But I think he's got the upside there. Frankly, I'd probably wait in the end and kick it down the road.
Excited to tell you about a new partnership here at Chat Sports and today's presenting sponsor, Rumble. Free, uncensored content and more NFL news and rumors content over on Rumble. Now, they've really specialized in a lot of free, uncensored content where, they don't condone cancel culture. Either do we here at Chat Sports. And really, they reached out to us because they wanted sports content, NFL, NBA, college football. We've been able to provide that, and we've picked up a bunch of subscribers. But with almost 3,000 people watching live, how many people can we get to subscribe to NFL Daily by Chat Sports? Let's see. Go to rumble.com/NFL Daily. And after we are live here on NFL Daily on YouTube, we're going to pop over on Rumble exclusively because Tom Downey is going to break down his winners and losers. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up in a couple of hours, but we will only be going live on Rumble for day 3 winners and losers in NFL free agency. So rumble.com/NFL Daily. That link is in the comment section as well as the description of this video. Super chat menu. A lot of super chats that have already come in, and we're down to party. We're down to have fun because we're not boring. We're not lame. We're not Big J journalists here. $5 equals a beer cheers. $10, we'll talk about your team, no matter which team it is. $15, I have a roulette wheel to my left. We will spin that and do some crazy nutty things. $25 super chat, we'll take some shots. For a $50 super chat, I will shotgun a beer. That's right, I'll shotgun a beer. One of the fastest shotguns that you'll ever see. And for a $100 super chat, we'll get somebody here. I will handpick somebody in the Chat Sports offices to my left, and we will get them to drink the Das Boot. That's 3 beers and a glass boot. They'll have to take it down in one setting. Otherwise, they are fired. They'll do that for a $100 super chat. Looks like we got a drink thanks to Trace McSorley for our Penn State product.
I'll drink here.
Has Allen Robinson been signed? No. But, Tom, I want to ask you and pose you this question. Where do you think he fits best as a contested catch wide receiver?
Good question. I would have said Jacksonville, but they've invested elsewhere at the wide receiver spot. I don't know what his – you know what I would like to see him go? How about Kansas City? How about you put him and Tyreek Hill out there? Give them a bigger body on the outside.
Yeah, that'd be lit. Tyreek Hill potentially working on a contract extension, which will pay him – maybe north of $20 million. Another $5 super chat from Pendejo. Tyrann Mathieu to the Bucks.
I'll drink for
BA loves him, and he's in Orlando with Todd Bowles. Bucks get to restructure contracts for that.
Good point. He does love BA. So that is a good point. That actually
played for him in Arizona.
I'd actually forgotten about that. You do got to make the money work. I don't know how you maximize all 3 safeties because you want to have Antoine Winfield, my boy, and Mike Edwards be key parts. But again, I ain't gonna be mad if you go get Honey Badger. That's always a good idea.
Another $5 super chat from Trace McSorley. Who do you think is going to go first overall in the NFL draft? That's a good question, actually.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Okay.
I think that's the guy that the Jags like the most. The buzz coming out of the combine was that they were either going to pick Aiden Hutchinson or Ike Mekwonu, and they've since signed a guard and retained Cam Robinson, so I don't think O-line's the pick there. I think Hutchinson's going to be the route that they end up going.
Mark Olu saying J.D. McKissick, Bills is a steal. Unfortunately, Mark, he's going back to Washington. He pulled a Frank Gore and a Randy Gregory.
Yeah.
$10 super chat, Ricardo Green. What free agent do you see my Buffalo Bills taking?
Well, they wanted McKissick, like we talked about there. That, of course, kind of fell apart in their face. They don't need to spend that much money. Yeah, they've already added guys at guard. I'm drawing a blank on somebody else that they added. Oh, a bunch of defensive linemen. Yep. That was the 2 biggest needs for me was D-line, offensive guard. That's not really, I think, in the top 2 anymore. Running back could certainly now be an area that they go explore. Seemed like they wanted someone with some third down value. How about Cordero Patterson? Maybe make him one of your lead backs. Or if you want to go with a more typical, early down runner, does Sony Michel intrigue you? I think that's a good path to pursue if you're Buffalo. So that team's in really good shape. Just depends on what else they want to do.
Cordero Patterson was literally like Deebo Samuel Light this past year. You know, John Lynch, general manager for San Francisco, talked about Deebo as a wide back. It's like a new position, wide receiver and running back. That's basically what Cordero Patterson was. He can be a receiver. He can be a running back, and it's one of the most electrifying returners in the NFL. You put him on that Buffalo Bills offense with Diggs, with Josh Allen, really good offensive line, anchored by Deion Dawkins. Could be a really, really good weapon.
Remember that Tavon Austin died so Deebo Samuel could live.
There you go.
Also, Deebo's better.
Yeah, Deebo's much better. He's a freak. And he's going to get paid $25, $30 million average annual value, I believe. Ryan, more Bills talk. JD, why? But how do we feel about the Bills, though? I love the Bills. Look, I think Josh Allen, second best quarterback in the NFL behind Patrick Mahomes, when they were riding the seesaw, going back and forth, trading punches like a heavyweight bout, it was exceptional television. It was phenomenal theater. And I think you could have made the argument that he's right on par with Patrick Mahomes, if not better, because of him, the lone reason, Josh Allen. I think they can compete for a Super Bowl for the next decade.
Yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to Allen for being able to grow and develop in a way that we really haven't seen a QB do that before from an accuracy perspective. And you got to give credit to the Bills organization. That is a master class in how to build around a young franchise QB.
$10 super chat from Tristan. Where do the Broncos go next? Love the Randy Gregory signing. Really like the DJ Jones signing. They're already winners because they got their franchise quarterback in Russell Wilson, and you surround him with Albert Okwuegbunam, as well as Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. Like, that is some weaponry right there. KJ Hamler coming off the torn ACL.
Yeah. I mean, you can cross edge rusher off your need list. You can cross defensive line off. I mean, there's two fantastic moves, DJ Jones, Randy Gregory. So I think it's one of those first couple needs there. Linebacker, they brought back Josie Jewell. Maybe you look for one more, but offensive tackle, you need a right tackle unless you think Calvin Anderson is your guy long term. Not so sure that's the case. Maybe a new backup tight end to replace Noah Fant, who you dealt away to Seattle to, of course, get Russell Wilson. And I think corner, also kind of an under-the-radar need there with Bryce Callahan being a free agent, so a nickel option needed.
$10 super chat, also coming in from Joel. Tom, can we trade Steven for a cold cup of coffee and a week-old piece of cake would taste better than Catboy's free agency so far?
Yeah, I sent out the tweet, it was yesterday, whatever, of like, Cowboys fans, can we have Von Miller? And Stephen Jones says we have Von Miller at home, and Von Miller at home is a photo of Dorrance Armstrong. Might become scarily accurate, and that would worry me a whole lot from that perspective. But it's been rough. Things were looking on the up. When you got Malik Hooker, you got a great deal for Tank Lawrence. You managed to keep Michael Gallup. You were starting to feel better about your disaster handling the Amari Cooper situation. And then you lose Randy Gregory. Sounds like you're going to miss out on Von Miller, which we all know was getting our hopes up, but it's okay to have your hopes up sometimes. And now now they're back, being down again.
So our audience right now is popping. Let's see, 2,500 plus people watching live. And if you haven't subscribed to us here at Chat Sports, we're interactive, we're informative, we're entertaining, we're educational, bringing you top-notch analysis as we work our asses off to provide you with that. But also, we like to have fun and interact with the audience and treat the comment section kind of like a sports talk radio call-in line. Everything we do is innovative and fun and ahead of the curve, a little bit edgy. So make sure you subscribe. We push out multiple videos per day covering the NFL, of course, but also college football and the NBA. Basically, any big-ticket sports item that happens, we'll keep you up to date. Now, Dark Swamper is saying, I find Chase annoying. It's fine. I don't find our subscribers annoying, and we want some more of them. So make sure you hit that red subscribe button down below or go to youtube.com/chatsportstv. Also, 2,600 people watching live, 334 likes. That ain't going to cut it. Once we get to 1,000 likes, I'm down to take a shot. Tom, are you down to take a pull of that jack?
Do you want to stick with the ones we built for day one of like this many in supers and this many likes?
We can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
250 likes was a shot.
Okay.
So I'll do that one since I don't think do you fireball here?
I do.
Do you want to do the shot or do you want me to do the shot?
I'll do the shot.
Okay. 500 is the drink or do game. Do we have the cards here?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we got the cards. Awesome. Super chat wise, we're going to do just increments of 50 here. 50's the drink or do game, so we both got to do one of those. And 100 you just went by is also a shot, so I'll do one of those too.
Okay.
There we go. That's how you ride.
I'm taking a shot. Tom's taking a shot. 500 likes is another milestone as well. But with 2,500 people watching live, we could basically knock all of that stuff out by getting to 1,000 likes. And it should be easy with this many people watching. So if you're wondering, how do I like the video? You just hit that thumbs up icon and like the video, and we'll do some crazy things and have a lot of fun here on NFL Daily. Cheers to the audience. Thanks for making what we do fun and supporting everything that we do. And if you're having a good time, you also hit that thumbs up icon.
Let's hit this news. Let's hit the supers. Then we'll go sub-only chat momentarily, folks.
Cool.
Do you know who this is, Chase?
Josh Harris.
Without cheating.
He is the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers, but that's Joshua Harris.
Nice. Yeah. This is a long snapper.
Nice.
I knew that because I cheated.
Has he been in the league for?
Yes, he's been in the league for a while now.
15. It's a long time.
It's long enough. I think
Yeah.
he was a Pro Bowler at one
Okay.
point. So, long snapper news for the Chargers. They stay winning or whatever.
Yeah. Hey, they've been really aggressive in free agency and in the offseason. I mean,
It
they
hope-
trade for Khalil Mack.
Hopefully for the Chargers, we never mention his name again.
Yes,
That means he did his
seriously.
job.
Mike Williams, J.C. Jackson, some more moves that the Chargers have made. $2 super chat coming in from the homie Austin. How do the Seahawks progress with the holes and the gap at quarterback? I have to figure it out first.
You've got money. You've got some draft capital now. I would say don't rush into finding your next QB. Maybe you love Malik Willis. Cool, that's fine. Take him. But I think you got to be patient in this reset, rebuild, whatever we want to call it there.
Another $10 super chat coming in from Zeal Talk, as we've had a bunch of $10 super chats. The
Sir.
audience is the best. Tackle options for my Dolphins. Can I get a top 5 option?
I assume you're looking at the free agency market here,
sure.
so we'll ignore the draft side here.
Armstead?
Armstead's your number one guy.
Yeah.
I like Eric Fisher.
Okay.
I think you're looking more for a left, but maybe you want to go right. Billy Turner intrigues me there.
Interesting.
Dwayne Brown's older. I don't necessarily love his fit. You're looking for guys that fit your style, those more athletic linemen. Yeah, maybe Cornelius Lucas is a buy low option for you as like an insurance in case you don't draft anybody. But I'm looking at Armstead. I'm looking at Eric Fisher as my top 2 at that position because tackle is still an area of focus. The Dolphins have addressed the offensive line a little bit here. They signed Connor Williams. Thought they signed somebody else. I'm drawing a blank on that name, but they've been making moves at this point.
Yeah, Fisher, number 1 overall pick in 2013, played long time with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Indianapolis Colts. Now he is available. Young Ace, $5 super chat. Cheers to you. Will the Jets target a linebacker in free agency? They've actually been active. Tom, I think they're like a silent winner so far. I like what they've done.
I think I put them on the winner side of things here.
Yeah.
From my perspective, like I think that's been good. So linebacker, you drafted a lot of guys last year. Hamza Nasir-Eldin, you drafted Blake Cashman a few years ago. Jamie Sherwood, C.J. Mosley's expensive though, so I don't know what the game plan is from that standpoint.
Another super chat coming in from Pendejo. Antoine and Tyrann Mathieu would be deadly. Do you guys think that it's a possibility? Also, it's your top 5 greatest Bucks of all time. Wow, top 5 greatest Bucks. That's really good. You could go Warren Sapp, John Lynch, Tom Brady now on that list. My goodness. Derek Brooks has to be on that list. That's 4 right there.
Did you mention Sapp?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Brady probably gets on there.
He has to.
Because he won.
Ended the Super Bowl drought.
Yeah, like that alone is so impactful that you kind of just got to do it.
Yeah. And then Tyrann Mathieu and Antoine Winfield, that would be a deadly 1-2 punch in that secondary. Would you agree?
I think it's awesome. I like Mike Edwards, but if you somehow get Tyrann Mathieu, I feel like you got better at safety, even after losing a good player in Jordan Whitehead.
Yet another super chat coming in from Trace McSorley continues to be a chat sports legend. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? I think as of right now, the leaders, you got to look at teams like the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Rams. I like what the Chargers have done. They've really improved their roster. Any other team stand out?
On the winner's side, I mean, they're not going to win the title, but I kind of like what Miami has done. So, I mean, I think your contenders are pretty much the same we thought they were going to be in the end.
All right. $10 super chat, Roberto Renteria. Do the Bears just go with drafting a wide receiver, or do they find someone in free agency trade or someone after free agency?
Both?
I don't think they're going to bring back Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that relationship soured pretty heavily there. I would sign a guy like Juju, and I draft someone in round 2 because I got a vertical guy. I think that's going to be his best role there in Mooney. I need a slot and somebody else because I want to surround Justin Fields with playmakers like good organizations to do. So I'm down with both. And you got some money. I think that'd be a good path in the end for the Bears to pursue.
Good stuff there from TD. Jared Distel, $10 super chat. How about the Bengals? Obviously, O-line is an issue, but also, what about some of the holes on defense? Look, they fulfilled some of those question marks at offensive line, made 2 big signings, and I like what they've done along the offensive line. Now, yesterday you talked about secondary, that's still a little bit of a concern, right?
Yeah, tight end also, I think, a question mark. Maybe it takes somebody on day 2, early day 3 there. They haven't cut, at least I haven't seen it, Trey Waynes, which is super weird since he's played like 6 games for Cincinnati if you're getting paid. So you got Chidobe Awuzie, you got Mike Hilton. They need one more corner and maybe another defensive tackle piece. But this team is in good shape. There might be some natural regression, but they're in good shape.
Brought back Jesse Bates, and anytime you have Joe Burrow,
also,
Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, you're loaded.
Paid Jesse Bates big money.
Yes, they did. Mr. Lubo, $2 super chat. Any news on J-Ron Curse? That's right up your alley,
Nope,
right?
nothing yet.
No, nothing there. $2 super chat. Cincinnatus. What 2 positions should Cincinnati target before the draft? Corner?
Yeah, corner and either tight end or offensive tackle.
Yeah, because you lost Ozoma. Henry Hipp, another $2 piece. How do the Bears address the wide receiver need? Could be draft, could be free agency, maybe a middle tier, lower tier guy. Some fans have talked about Juju Smith-Schuster. They lost Jakeem Grant to the Cleveland Browns. I think that's a sneaky good move for Cleveland. Very good returner who certainly flashed with athletic ability and speed, so we'll see. Dylan Harmon, a $1 super chat. Didn't say anything, just wanted to support us and
Thanks, Dylan.
Everything that we do. The Analyzer, $20 super chat. Ding, 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 ding. First big super chat of the day. Who do you guys think the Steelers are closer to signing, Stephon Gilmore or Honey Badger, or are we even looking at the 2?
I would say that of the maybe Gilmore. I'm not sure how interested the Steelers are in either of those guys. It's weird early in free agency. I think Gilmore makes more sense for Pittsburgh, but I wouldn't be mad at either. So they've invested a lot in the offensive line. I'm not sure how much more they're going to invest at that particular spot. We do. I think. Is that 2 roulette spins now, or just the 1?
No, just the one. That's the first $20 super chat today. So I had the roulette wheel. We'll spin that, and we'll see where it takes us. So let's do this thing. All right, spinning the roulette wheel.
It's too big of a ball anyway.
See what it lands on. 29 black.
It is.
Open up the piece of paper.
I just folded so many times.
Hot sauce shot.
Oh, do we even have the hot sauce?
Yes.
Oh,
unfortunately
we do.
for you, we do.
Oh, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Whatever.
I'm gonna pour some hot sauce in.
Oh man. Oh, is the hot sauce over? Oh, it's over there.
I got it.
Oh, okay. Oh, geez,
hot sauce.
Great.
Tom Downey about to take a shot of hot sauce for a $20 super chat. I told you.
Great.
We're gonna do some fun things if
you love to see it.
You give us some super chats.
I mean, you don't love to see it. It's actually very disappointing to see it happen. But oh goody. Fun fact: I hate hot sauce. I don't like it.
I'm not gonna lie. I did this the other day.
I don't put it on anything.
And it wasn't that bad.
Okay. Well.
But if you.
But I'm soft.
I'm not gonna confirm or deny. I did do this the other day. It wasn't that bad, but also at the same point, I don't hate hot sauce. So it's here, and if you can see it, maybe. I don't want to tip it over and spill. Either way, the packet's right here. It's unloaded, and Tom Downey's about to take a shot of hot sauce for $20.
Yay!
Got water by you? I know you got Jack and you have some Modelo. It's not that bad, right?
No.
It has some heat to it on the aftertaste.
You know, maybe I'm burned. The last time we did this was back when we were in our old offices.
Yeah.
And it was expired hot sauce.
Ooh.
And I almost puked. It was that bad. It was horrible.
Expired hot sauce. Like
it was rough.
That has to be many years old because usually hot sauce is
almost not
perishable.
It was old.
Yeah.
That's actually not that bad. I'm fine.
$2 super chat from Pendejo as he continues to support everything that we're doing here on NFL Daily and at Chat Sports. Okay, last one. It doesn't have to be your last one. Pete Davidson versus Kanye. Who wins? I think Pete Davidson. I think he's in much better shape than Kanye West. If we're talking like straight up boxing match.
Kanye got that crazy energy though.
This is true, and he might not be able to feel any pain. So he might just continue to go after you. But Pete Davidson seems to be in decent shape.
He does.
$2 super chat, Katie Boy. Seattle tanks and goes for Bryce Young. But the moves that they've made don't indicate that they're tanking, right? Because
Except
they
at
spent
QB.
money.
Except at QB. And but they got to spend money to get players on their roster. So we'll know what they do, like in terms of tanking, by what they do at QB.
Yeah.
If they want to roll with Tank Commander Drew Lock, cool. I'm down with that. But I don't know.
Yeah. Got the Chandler Jones details, by the way. He's getting paid some really solid coin. He did say when he was leaving Arizona, if I latch on with the title contender, it's not about money for me anymore. I've made a bunch of that. He's getting paid, though. 3-year, $51 million deal. It makes sense why they traded away Yannick Ngakoue to make room for him.
Yeah, I mean, they're adding him on a decent-ish deal. $17 million is probably what Von Miller is going to be asking for now, and clearly the Raiders wanted him real bad, and they also got a cornerback, too. So this is a intriguing, fascinating path for Las Vegas, as I know our Raiders Report channel is getting a little bit litty right now.
Dylan Harmon, $2 super chat. Realistically, will the Cowboys sign anybody or Von Miller? According to Josie and Anderson, Von Miller hasn't made a decision yet, but there are reports out there that point to Von going back to Los Angeles.
Yeah, the Rams think they're going to keep Von. Von is not decided, which is maybe a last-ditch effort from somebody, whatever camp it is, to get more money from a team or drive up something or get the deal done. I think Von signs soon, and I'm going to stick with he goes with to the Rams in the end.
T. Lee with the $2 super chat, and because he's talking about the NFC South, I have a pretty fascinating nugget I want to pass along. If the Saints get Watson, rank the NFC South. I still think you go Bucks 1, you go Saints 2 because they have maybe even a better quarterback than Tom Brady at this point, but let's say you second best to Tom Brady, and then after that, I'm going Panthers, then Falcons.
I think that's right, but there's a pretty big gap there. Yeah.
Speaking of the NFC South, this coming from Peter Schrager, great nugget from this week. Russell Gage was debating where to sign, had a few choices, got a call from Tom Brady one day after returning to the team. Brady told Gage that they're building something special, and he's been a fan of his game. Get aboard, Russell Gage. He got aboard. So cool stuff there. Jalen Salazar, $2 super chat. Appreciate you for supporting the show. $2 from Landon. Who should the Eagles get at wide receiver?
All you.
Yeah, I think Juju Smith-Schuster would be a good complementary piece to Devontae Smith. A lot of people like Allen Robinson, but his lack of explosion does concern me a little bit. But you have that speed threat who can get up and down the field, but also run every route on the route tree in Devontae Smith. So could that then open up opportunities for Allen Robinson? Potentially, I think you're looking at those two names right there. Jalen Salazar, another two-piece. Who do you think the Raiders will go after next? Look, I mean, maybe James Bradbury if they try to make a trade for the former Giants cornerback. That's kind of been a rumor that's been out there.
Another defensive lineman, maybe?
Yeah.
A better right tackle? They could.
Yeah, they could use that.
I was going to say Trent Brown, but that might be too soon.
Yeah, too soon. Ask Mitch that. He'll say way too soon and never. Jacob Hollingsworth, $2 super chat. Shout out to Harrison Graham. All love, bro. Hashtag bear down. Harrison, he's locked in. So locked in that anytime I've called his name today, he hasn't even noticed.
Sad
$5
or
super
good?
chat from AF Baltimore.
You heard that one.
Where do the Ravens go next after the Moses signing? Go to Cozy TV, Nick. Okay, cool.
Look, I love the Morgan Moses pickup. I think defense, I think corner is an under-the-radar need now for the organization after they cut Tavon Young. You can go a lot of different routes there. I would love Bryce Callahan in that defense. I think it'd be a fantastic fit.
That's intriguing. $2 super chat. Dejan Bell, hopefully I pronounced that right. Realistic chance Kyle H. is there at 11. He's talking about Kyle Hamilton going to the Washington Commanders. I think that's extremely unlikely.
I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked. Look, NFL draft, weird stuff happens. I'd be very surprised. I'm thinking you're talking like 1 or 2% chance.
Robbie, $2. Where's Baker's next destination? Seattle, maybe?
Indy?
Indianapolis. He'd be a great fit in Frank Reich's offense.
I'm going to say Cleveland. He's in Cleveland next year, which might look really dumb in like a half hour.
How after trying to dump him, it's like cheating on your girlfriend and messing around with other girls, and then you go back to your ex and you're like, hey.
And how often does that happen? More than it should. So, kind of my mindset. It's not the route I would go. I think they're kind of close to burning that bridge altogether, but I'll go Cleveland and Indy as the first two.
Mr. Stegosaurus, $20. That's another roulette wheel spin. Call it right now before the draft, after free agency. What will be the surprise teams? What team will fall apart? What team will succeed like the Bengals last year? And what Super Bowl contender will end up as a middle-tier team?
Okay.
A lot to unpack there, but
yeah.
You can unpack it bit by bit.
It's also a roulette wheel spin, I believe. Okay. Surprise teams in a positive sense. Denver's too obvious there. I think Philly will be better than what they've been, like relative to expectations. I think they'll be a good team again next year. Their record was inflated by bad teams, but they'll be better and they'll be a good team here. Team will fall apart. Seahawks are too obvious. I could see Pittsburgh really, really struggling, kind of hitting the curve a little bit more. I'm a bit worried about the Raiders, but we said that for 3 years in a row, and everything ends up going fine. What team will shock like the Bengals? I mean, if you want to follow a similar pattern, I think Jacksonville is going to be better. I think Chicago will be better, and I think the Jets will be better. Former first-round picks at those positions. I think Niners are probably in a similar boat from last year, and the contender that ends up mid, the Rams regress?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just Bengals regress. Probably one of those would be my guess.
That could happen.
Patriots will regress too, per Jack.
Off the roulette wheel spin, we have to do the
you.
blow up a balloon challenge. Basically, blow this up as large as it can go before it pops. So.
Okay, you want to toss me one?
Oh, we both have to do it. I thought I just
yeah.
had to do it. Okay. Yeah. There you go. All right, here we go.
Yeah, you go first. I'll go through some more of these super chats here while Chase pulls up. Thank you, by the way, for not giving me a green one, because that was obnoxious. All right, Wolfman Trucker. Tom Downey versus Chase Sr. Who wins in a fight? Chase. Easy. Pendejo, you guys made me poor, and Skeet would never beat ye. So he's in agreement with me that Kanye beats Pete Davidson. Trace McSorley, who do you guys think the best wide receiver duo is in the NFL? It's a good question. I still want to believe in the Mike Evans, Chris Godwin duo, which I guess I can take for one more year. Kind of tempted by Jamar Chase and T. Higgins now. In the end, I think I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. I'm not going to beat Chase. He wins. I can already tell. You have won. I'm not going to blow it up that much. Liam Cool Plays says, will Von Miller go back to the Broncos? I think that's dead. I think it's the Rams most likely or somebody else. Yeah, it does look like a light bulb. Nice. I just don't think he returns there. All right, Vinny, and then we'll let Chase take back over here. Off seasons like this are the reason why I decided not to be a Cowboys fan anymore. That's how things tend to go for Dallas. All right, all you, Chase. My turn to blow it up.
All right, back to the Super Chats, Tom Downey's burner account. So what was the point of making all of the cap space for Dallas? To retain some of their own free agents,
Save it.
Open up some opportunities to bring back a player like DeMarcus Lawrence, who is beefing with Stephen Jones, and you can save it because it always helps you moving forward.
The popular theory has been that they're kind of setting up their cap really good for next year for a potentially new head coach.
Giants are not planning to release James Bradberry, so that coming through. Take a look at some of these reports here. Mike Garafolo. As we wait to see what happens with potential trades for Giants cornerback James Bradberry, what's clear is that the team isn't planning to release him. Source says they'll carry him even as $2 million of his salary becomes guaranteed today.
It's fine if you think you can get a trade. If you end up cutting him, you feel kind of bad, but maybe you think you're close in the end.
Rashard Higgins to Carolina, 1-year deal.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like he's a nice, like he'll probably be like $1 or $2 million, so
yeah.
I don't have any major issues with that particular deal.
Career high 599 yards last year with 4 touchdowns. $5 super chat, Timothy Peterson.
I'll drink for it.
Cheers to you. Foles, Dalton, or Minshew migrating elsewhere come the fall. You know what?
Foles.
We were asked about Seattle quarterbacks. I think Minshew could be in play.
Yeah, I don't think Minshew is as well regarded by the NFL as he is by
social media,
which the stash and the mullet RIP was great.
Yeah.
So I think Foles or Dalton, one of those guys is gone,
okay.
And I think it comes down to the money that Dalton could command elsewhere.
Okay, interesting. $2 super chat, Zach Taylor. Sucks being a Reds and Cowboys fan right now.
Hello,
At least the Reds made it to the playoffs last year.
Yeah, but the Reds are also fire-sealing everyone because their ownership's too cheap.
Is he saying that to you, by the way?
I don't know if it's me or if it's him as well.
Directly
But
you,
like,
because you're a Reds and Cowboys fan.
That's brutal, man. Sell the team, Bob.
If not,
sell the team.
Zach Taylor have a lot alike.
Yeah.
Billy Mahoney, $2. Thoughts about the Patriots making the worst trade ever?
Is this your burner account, Jack?
I
don't get it.
5th-round pick.
I don't get it. Like you trade away Shaq Mason and
Or
you
Shaq Mason,
you get a 5th back.
Yeah.
That's it. He's a really good football player. What? Did you still owe Tom Brady some more things under the radar contract you made years ago? Like, what are you
$8
doing?
million for a premier guard when the going right this offseason's been anywhere between 10 and 15.
The Bucks upgraded at guard.
Yeah.
And got
They lost Kappa,
a fifth.
Ali Marpet.
Like, that's it. They give a fifth to get better at guard. That's just insane.
Yeah.
On a better contract, too.
Nutty. Liam Cool plays $2. Who will pick up Jarvis Landry? It's a good question. Market's been somewhat thin for him as well. Jarvis Landry?
Chicago?
Chicago?
Slot receiver?
It's not a bad option.
It's maybe not the best idea, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, okay. Chicago maybe in play for Jarvis Landry. You know what's in play always? Us putting videos on a bunch of different platforms, YouTube, social media, and Rumble. Head to rumble.com/NFL Daily. Make sure you subscribe. We continue to grow to the platforms that you as viewers use. That includes Rumble, a somewhat new platform with free and uncensored content. And we'll be going live exclusively on Rumble after we go live for several hours here on YouTube.
The link in the chat.
Tom Downey is going to break down his winners and losers. So make sure you go to rumble.com/NFL Daily. Subscribe to us over there, but also subscribe to us here on YouTube because right now we are going sub-only chat here on YouTube. So those of you who are subscribed to us here at Chat Sports, it's the only way you're going to be able to comment here on YouTube is if you subscribe to the channel. That way we can give you shout-outs. We can also shout out your super chats and interact with the audience. So if you want the best, most informative, consistent, edgy coverage on the NFL, NBA, college football, and any big sport item, you can just subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv, or even easier, just hit that red subscribe button down below. Speaking of giving shout-outs, before we talk some Atlanta Falcons, Deshaun Watson rumors, Matt Ryan rumors, who do you think is the best NFL free agent left? Give you some shout-outs here. Tom?
I'm going to go Von Miller.
Okay.
And I thought about Teron Armstead heavily, but I am actually worried about his injury history. That should be a big red flag for teams.
Daniel, I'm subscribed and also an Eagles fan, and I am loving these Cowboys tears. Chandler Jones, Raiders. Mano, yep, we broke that down, that's for sure. Kyle Van Noy to the Bucks from James. Von Miller. Yoa Vost, Von Miller. Von Miller, Bobby Wagner from Diego. Jack, I can't hear you, by the way, if you're trying to talk to us. There you go. Chase Daniel, Taco, Miles Jack, Von Miller.
Chase Daniel signed. Can't say him. Yeah. Also,
he
wrong.
didn't re-sign with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Bobby Wagner's in there, too.
Deshaun Watson to the Panthers. That's a prediction. He's not technically a free agent.
My burner account is Chaz Green. That's super funny, too.
That is good
God,
stuff.
what a terrible, terrible player that ended up being.
Can you give a Saints report of what's happened? Well, we'll talk about Deshaun Watson coming up here in a few moments. Jackie Bull, we're ready to rock? Cool. You ready to talk some Falcons?
That's right.
All right, let's talk some Falcons and get you caught up with the latest going on around Deshaun Watson. The Deshaun Watson sweepstakes continue, and there are a bunch of teams in the fold for his services. A guy who, when he's on the field and playing, one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, and in 2020 threw for almost 5,000 yards. And really the sweepstakes come down to a lot of teams in the NFC South. The Atlanta Falcons, the New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers, but also a team in the AFC North in the Cleveland Browns. And according to various reports out there, all of these teams have made formal offers to the Houston Texans in a trade that would bring Deshaun Watson to the respective franchise. And when that happens, immediately, that team, whether it's in the AFC or the NFC, would vault to the top of the NFC odds because Deshaun Watson is a very, very special player. In 2020, last time he played, because last year he didn't play because of these legal issues, and the legal issues are cleared, completed 70% of his passes, nearly 5,000 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 picks, QBR of 70.5. Now, Tom, it's my opinion that I think he's the third best quarterback in the NFL behind Mahomes and Josh Allen. You're more so in that 5 to 8 range, but break down the player and what a team would be getting, including the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, whether you rank him 3 like you do, 5 to 8, 9, 10 if you want to go that deep, he's awesome. This is a franchise caliber QB. When you add Deshaun Watson to your organization, as long as you trust the off-field stuff won't reappear, and as long as you trust that he's going to not want to be traded like he did in Houston. This, in theory, is your QB for the next 10-plus years. And now, all of a sudden, you've locked up the most important position. So whatever team you're a fan of there, in this case the Falcons, yeah, your roster needs a lot of help beyond that, but you've got the most important position set and ready to go. You can figure out the rest after that. It is a lot easier to find a good receiver, good offensive lineman, good D lineman than it is to find a top 10 QB. These guys, in general, aren't available, and if they are available, it costs a lot to go get them, and there's a bidding war just like there is right now for Deshaun Watson.
Now, who will trade for Deshaun Watson? Will it be your Atlanta Falcons? Will it be another NFC South rivalry team in the Carolina Panthers? Maybe the New Orleans Saints, the Cleveland Browns. There's also some chatter from Jim Trotter of NFL Network about mutual interest between Watson's camp and the San Francisco 49ers. But give us a team in the comment section where you think Deshaun Watson will go next. Now, of course, Deshaun Watson will have implications if he goes to Atlanta on Matt Ryan. And some really interesting developments on that front from Chris Mortensen as well as Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter taking to Twitter just moments ago as we're really reacting to all of this live. Adam Schefter said, as Chris Mortensen reported, the Falcons informed quarterback Matt Ryan last weekend that they were pursuing Deshaun Watson. The lines of communication have been kept open between Ryan and the Falcons. And Ryan is a longtime franchise icon for Atlanta. He won the NFL MVP a couple of years ago, helping lead them to that Super Bowl loss to the New England Patriots. We know about 28-3. That was bad, but what's been good, Matt Ryan for a really long time.
Yeah.
He's been a face of a franchise. He's been a pillar of this team and really a stand-up dude. And if the Atlanta Falcons do go the Deshaun Watson route, they're going to clear off a monster salary off their salary cap in Matt Ryan, and other teams are going to be interested, like the Indianapolis Colts, a team that's ready to win right now. Maybe even the Seattle Seahawks, a team that moved on from Russell Wilson. I have some concerns about his arm talent, but he can make up for that with his overall football IQ. And last year, surrounded by some about par level wide receivers, still completed about 67% of his passes for nearly 4,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 12 picks in the first year for Arthur Smith.
You know, the interesting situation for Matt Ryan is he's one of those, I call him like the Rivers category of QB. Like the arm, or maybe the Breeze is a better example of it. The arm does start to go, but because he's so advanced when it comes to identifying blitzes, identifying what the scheme is going to be, it allows him to have success. There are two ways to get the ball to where it needs to go. Quickly via arm strength, or because you know that's where it's got to go early, and you throw it with such good anticipation that it kind of bails it out. Ryan's numbers weren't great last year. You obviously didn't have Calvin really for much of the year. Now he's suspended for an entire season. You lost Russell Gage. The Falcons' receiving talent overall is not in an ideal situation. We can come back to that later on. But if they do shop Matt Ryan, which is the likely outcome in the event that they acquire, not the likely, it is the outcome in the event they trade for Deshaun Watson, they have not restructured his deal officially. That was reported they were going to, has not been finalized at this point, and that gives them the flexibility to move on from Matt Ryan for a team like the Browns would be a great destination. The Colts would be a great fit. There would be a lot of interest in Matt Ryan if the Falcons upgrade at QB for a top 15-ish, bordering on top 10 QB still, even at his advanced age.
Yeah, and as far as Deshaun Watson's contract goes, before the fallout with Houston and all of those legal issues arose, he did sign a 4-year, $156 million contract. So on an average annual value basis, this upcoming year, base salary of $35 million with a cap hit of $40. Next year, base salary goes down to $20 million, but the cap hit goes up to $42+ million. There's a potential out in 2024, and then in 2024, $32 million base salary, followed by that same figure in 2025 as well. So that's the latest on Deshaun Watson's contract, but where do you think Matt Ryan will end up? Will he go back to Atlanta? if they bring in Deshaun Watson, obviously he'll go elsewhere. Look into your crystal ball and let us know right now. And while you're down there in the comment section, we
So
are a
close.
grand total of 2 people away from 5,000 subscribers on Atlanta Falcons today. Producer Coop been doing a good job of building this channel up, as well as Thomas Mott, who's on radio in Atlanta, by the way. So if you want to stay in the know with the best Falcons news and rumors, go to youtube.com/FalconsTV, or if you're watching us on Falcons Today, just hit that red subscribe button down below. As for the Falcons' needs in free agency, haven't really made any big splashes. They lost Russell Gage. We'll see what remaining moves they make. As for team needs, wide receiver, edge, linebacker, offensive tackle, running back, they need to build up this roster. And if Watson goes to another team in the NFC South, makes that division even more competitive.
Yeah, and I'll throw this at you. When you look at all those needs that they have, and the roster, I don't think is in great shape overall. You got to put together a strong package. The Texans have wanted multiple draft picks and or players. What are you offering them, Chase, if you're Atlanta, to ensure you're able to land him in a trade? Like, you've got, like, what are you moving in the end?
In terms of premier players, the Falcons don't have many of them. In terms of draft capital, they have some of that. Now, what's interesting is that Deshaun Watson grew up in Georgia. I guess according to Adam Schefter, was able to develop a relationship with him because he was a ball boy for the Falcons way back in the day. So you can talk about that being the, I guess, the connector between him as well as Deshaun Watson. But in terms of a trade, like, I don't know what you give up if you're Atlanta. And if you're Houston, is that the best package available? I don't think so.
Definitely not the best package, but you're kind of, with the no trade clause, there's some leverage there for Deshaun. Is it something along the lines of, like, you move your first this year, both your seconds this year, another first, and, like, I mean, you're not going to trade away A.J. Terrell, Kyle Pitts. Those are your best players on that side of the football.
Yeah.
Does Marlon Davidson interest Houston? Second-round pick from 2020. Might not be the same scheme fit he was there. One of your centers, you got 2 passable centers. Like, you don't have the player assets that other organizations, I think, would be able to move. Certainly not like what we saw the Denver Broncos move to Seattle. So it's that package, if it does go down, I'm very curious what it would look like.
Yeah, no doubt. And it would send a ripple effect across the entire NFL because Deshaun Watson, one of the most gifted quarterbacks that we have ever seen. A little bit of a tricky question for the audience because it really is all really dependent on if the Falcons trade for Deshaun Watson. But either way, predicted for us. How many wins for the Falcons next year in 2022? Get your prediction in the comment section right now. Give some shout-outs to some people out there as our audience continues to spike. 2,500 people watching live. A lot of Super Chats to get caught up on. We will catch up on all of those Super Chats coming up here momentarily.
Yeah, Lou's wondering about Cordell Patterson. He's a free agent, so he's not under contract at this point. So
too is Zacchaeus, right?
Yeah, I think they brought him back on like an RFA deal, but like that's their number one receiver.
Yeah.
Other guys are Frank Darby.
The Calvin Ridley thing really crushed them.
Yeah,
in terms of getting something back for a trade, but also having him. Because if Deshaun Watson goes to Atlanta, Calvin Ridley's probably like, oh, wait, hold on.
I'm okay.
I'll come back to the ATL.
Now, I wonder if Ridley put any money on the futures odds for Deshaun.
Nice, well played. Dino 0-4. I'm seeing 8 from Daniel in terms of Falcons wins. 2 from Draco Pimpin. What's good, homie? 504 Hot Boy. John Fahey 10 with Watson. I can see that, even with the depleted roster. 9, 5, 6, 5-7 from Jamie Paul Glover. 6 wins for the Falcons. Thanks to all of you for continuing to keep that comment section flowing. A lot of Super Chats to get caught up on, and we'll answer all of these coming up here in just a few moments and really just give you some analysis as well. The Pittsburgh Steelers, a couple days ago, day 1 of NFL free agency, made a minor splash, and I guess a medium-level splash by signing Mitchell Trubisky to a 2-year deal. Another backup quarterback, maybe? We'll see what happens with Mason Rudolph, but they signed Dwayne Haskins, re-signing on a 1-year deal.
This is the RFA tender. I think it's in the range of like $2.5 million for Haskins. So you got 3 guys at QB now, and you still kind of need a franchise QB, which is an ideal.
Yeah. $2 Super Chat. Dijon, who's y'all favorite team? And
Cowboys.
Chase, comeback player of the year.
Chase Young,
comeback player of the year.
Right.
I could be the comeback player of the year. I mean, you don't want to see me coming off the edge. I think Chase Young could win comeback player of the year. I think it goes to somebody with like a crazier story, right? Because Chase Young, torn ACL. Unfortunately, torn ACLs happen all the time. But
Not as
yeah,
competitive a field, I don't think, as what it was last year when you had Bosa, Dak, and Burrow, all really valid, normal year type of earners for that particular award.
Yeah, and if you're saying favorite team, I'm going to go favorite team sneakily to win it that a lot of people aren't talking about, Los Angeles Chargers.
I like it.
Yeah. Christopher, $2 super chat. Really appreciate your donation.
Thank you.
$2 super chat. TJ loves boxing and sports. Salute, guys. Any news on my Colts quarterback? Nothing new on that front.
No.
As of about 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, 2:20 Central. So, yeah, no news on the quarterback front for Indianapolis. $2 super chat. By the way, Tom, you look like a skinny Brandon Scherf.
What do you think? Yeah or nay?
You kind of do with the beard.
It's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, similar beard.
Hairlines are similar.
If you gave a scary look in a photo, I could see that.
If I went like buzz cut, maybe.
Yeah.
I could see it.
You got more flow, though.
The beard is very, very similar. That's fair.
More flow is always a good thing. You got the lettuce up top. You got to keep it as long as possible.
Yeah.
Katie Boy, 49ers regret not re-signing DJ Jones. Look, former 6th-round pick. They developed him to the point where he got offered $10 million per year. Niners simply could not afford it. Were they willing to pay that? I don't even think so. I don't think that's the case either. So I don't think they regret it. Now, if Javon Kinlaw ends up being a bust, and he has been so far, 2 seasons cut short and hampered by injuries, then maybe. But DJ Jones, good for him for getting the bag. $2 super chat from Christopher. Who do you believe wins the Watson sweepstakes? I think the Saints are the leaders right now.
That's the pin poll right now is who trades for Deshaun Watson. This is narrow as ever on this channel. Falcons 21%, Browns 22%, Panthers 27%, Saints 30%.
Yeah.
That's very
so
narrow.
Even. Really neck and neck.
Yeah.
Kind of like that horse game at like a fair. It's like those horses.
Yeah,
you
I
gotta
like
shoot
that.
the water gun and
Gotta angle it down. That's the key.
Target.
Yeah.
Cool Alex, $10 super chat. I hate that Stephen Jones wants to save cap and play for next year. We have the talent to play for this year. At least we did before we traded Cooper for next to nothing and lost Gregory. Your takeaways on that?
You could have been ultra aggressive with the NFC East not having like an elite QB beyond Dak Prescott right now, and maybe Hurts becomes that guy this year. But at the time you thought Brady was out. You had Russ leave Seattle. There was that window of like, you should be the second best team in the NFC. Now I don't think you feel that way, but it's also because you weren't aggressive. I mean, you have not gotten better this year. You've gotten worse at receiver, worse at edge, and you got a glaring hole now along the middle of the offensive line too, because you lost Connor Williams, and Connor McGovern was a disaster there. So it's rough from that perspective. I understand the frustration.
More long snapper news. The Chargers retain their own long snapper, and the Giants are going to do the same. Casey Kreider coming back to New York, 1-year deal.
Cool.
Monster news, which really impacts
live,
all
Marsh.
32 teams in the NFL. Marshall Green about to go live on New York Giants now. Just kidding, but subscribe to that channel. More super chats to get to. $2, Charles Thurman. Thoughts on Milk Dud Jimmy?
I've never heard him called
going to do
Milk
anymore.
Dud.
I think the Niners are going to make some more moves. Look, I know some fans are frustrated with the fact that the Niners haven't made a bunch of moves. I like Charvarius Ward. I think some moves that could be made, a contract extension for Deebo Samuel and Nick Bosa, those would both end up being monster splashes for San Francisco. Thoughts on Jimmy? I thought before Deshaun got cleared legally, they were playing their cards right because they kind of dictated the value for Garoppolo. We'll see what that value ends up being. I think the next domino to fall, it's Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
That then leads to what's going to happen with Jimmy Garoppolo.
A team settling for him.
Because whichever team lands Deshaun, the other teams who don't land him are going to be in the market for a quarterback still.
Except maybe Atlanta.
Yes. They'd probably
Just
bring
keep
back
back
Matt Ryan at that point.
Yeah.
$7 super chat from Rich King. What international currency
I believe this is South African Rand, which I've never heard of before,
Okay.
of course.
$7 from Rich King. You're the Rich King, and we feel richer now that you sent in that super chat. Liam Cool Plays, $2. Who do you think will sign Devontae Smith?
I mean, Philly re-signs him.
Philadelphia.
And, 5 years from now?
Yeah,
4
5
years from
now. He's going into year 2, so he's under contract. Dinesh, been a big supporter of all 3 days of our
Nice.
NFL free agency coverage. $2 super chat. What record do you think the Vikings end up with this year?
8 wins.
They're going to be pretty average, right? You would think.
That the AFC North or the NFC North, is not going to be that great. So I think it'll be kind of a similar team from last year in the end.
Yeah. And look, I mean, the Vikings, they lost so many close games last year by 1 score or less. So they were close to being a much better team. I just think they're somewhat average at this point.
I agree.
I'm interested to see what the new coaching staff is going to be able to do.
I agree.
Kirk Cousins has been, again, average. $5, Trevor Sims. I'll drink to that after I read this. Are the Bears going to do anything? We cleared all this cap space for Ogunjobi and a long snapper so far. I like Ogunjobi.
Yeah, I think receivers where they kind of got to go at this particular point. They're almost taking a year to rebuild, get that organization built the way they want it to after they moved on from the Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy situation. This is probably going to be it's not going to be fixed overnight in Chicago.
Thunder 404. Any more news on a James Bradbury trade? Any fits? Yes. We do have some news on the Bradbury front. Mike Garafolo. Giants can keep James Bradbury on the roster through the offseason because all but $100,000 of the $13.5 million he's due is tied to base salary. And Garafolo also reported that they do not plan on just outright releasing James Bradbury. So they want to find a trade suitor, and they're content with keeping him past today, even if, he's due $2 million by being on the roster today. So that's the latest on James Bradbury. Mm-hmm. Latest like number for us, 708 with 2,600 people watching live. We said earlier, if we get to 1,000, we'll take a shot. 1,000 likes, we're going to take shots here on the show.
We do have some games to play, by the way. We owe 2 Drink or Do games. This is for passing 500 likes and hitting 250 total in Super. So 2 Drink or Do games, a shot clock time game, and a singular fireball shot, and a roulette spin. So there's a lot we've hit there in the last, call it 40, 30 minutes there. So 2 Drink or Do games. You want to start with that? Do the cards over
Let's
there, Chase?
Do it. Yeah. I do.
See what we got. Each of us go.
All right.
Do you want to go first or second on the card?
Let me. I can go first.
Okay.
I have them. Let me shuffle them up here.
That's fine.
Bit.
I'll do the shot. Why not? And that'll take care of that particular one. Then we'll go roulette spin and shot clock time. I think we have that graphic there. Basically, shot clock time is once we get it started. Any $10 super that comes in, we owe a shot. So, if we just want to get a little bit litty, that'll be the game plan there.
All right.
Bottoms up.
So,
on that
drink or do. Make a fart noise with your hand and armpit or take a drink.
Wow, that's not even hard at all.
You got to do the under the arm thing?
I don't know if you can hear. He successfully did it. All right, grab one for me, Chase. What do we have here?
Let's see. Perform the chicken dance for 20 seconds or drink 3 times.
Let's drink 3 times. I'm a little bit too sober right now. So,
Jack, you're lucky because the other one that's behind it, give somebody next to you a titty twister.
Ooh.
And that would have been you, not me.
There we
go around again? Okay.
Trying to pass on that one. I see how it is.
What else do I have to do?
Roulette spin, shot clock time.
Okay, roulette wheel.
All
right, what do we got here? We have...
This is your turn to go, by the way. I went last time.
9 red. Take a shot.
All right.
Less.
That's not bad.
No.
I have no idea what's in there. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. We'll also put the clock on here for shot clock time. Every $10 super chat that comes in the next 60 seconds, once Jack starts that clock, he'll let me know, we will do a shot for. This could, by the way, Chase, we could go from 0 to 100 real quick here.
Oh, that's
with a bunch of shots in a row.
Cheers.
So we'll see. Bottoms up, Chase. It has started, so we got a minute. As, by the way, the Raiders report is crushing us in super chats, by the way, which,
That's not hard to do for the Raiders.
Let's not get embarrassed, though, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
The fact that it was a competition
for a while was
something
pretty interesting.
about that later.
Yeah, it's interesting. There.
Shots of cola from Zachary.
No,
man. I don't drink soda, dog.
Jack Daniels.
Fireball. Plus, I don't think Fireball and
Is that
Coke are
color?
the same color.
No, not at all. Not even really
Not
the
even
same
close,
color.
G. Here's our Super Chat menu. $5 beer tiers, $10. We'll talk about your team. We've done a lot of that today.
Yeah.
$15 roulette wheel spin, $25 shot time. For a $50 Super Chat, to catch up to the Raiders report, I'll shotgun a beer. And to the hater who said that was a shot of Coke, I'll shotgun a beer. Super Chat is $50. I'll do it faster than you've ever seen before.
$100 for
the DOS booth. That's 3 beers in a glass booth that somebody from the Chat Sports office has to come on and drink. And it's really, really hard.
Yeah.
So.
It's the volume. It's
the
not
volume.
It's not the beer.
Plus,
it's
you have
the
to
volume.
twist the boot to not get this bubble that just crushes you.
Yeah. Time's up, Jack. All right. That's all right. Okay. All right. More supers then. Liam Cool plays. What do you think the Broncos are going to do? A lot of Broncos questions today, Chase.
Yeah, look, are they going to do – is there much left for them to do?
Tackle in the corner.
That roster's loaded right now. I mean, you bring in Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, Albert Okwuegbunam, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler. So there you have a possession wide receiver, an athletic tight end, a vertical deep threat, Javonte Williams, fantastic running back. Do they do anything with offensive line depth? Maybe. Defensive line, Randy Gregory, DJ Jones. I think the Broncos are somewhat set, honestly.
Right tackle, a corner, that's it. That team is in really good shape. That AFC West, my God, it is so loaded, it is insane.
Doug Stevens, $2 Super Chat. Mariota would be a good Seahawks signing. Agree.
Sure.
Go back to the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Played college ball at Oregon. Nice little stopgap option for a year.
I think he's a better bridge QB than Drew Lock is. Like, I'm going to keep calling Drew Lock Tank Commander because that's what he is at this point in his NFL career.
Tank Commander.
My fear is of, like, if you just roll with Drew Lock, I call it my preseason QB fear, where by the time you get to that third or fourth guy, they're so bad, you actually can't evaluate the rest of your roster properly because they're just like, they're not throwing it accurately. They're just missing altogether. So I don't think Locke is quite that bad yet. I think you would be a more competitive team if you went with Mariota, and I think he'd be a decent bridge QB as well because I think he knows he's not going to be the guy in the end.
Let's pivot to this $2 Super Chat from Rocky Ramirez. Raiders making any more big moves today? If you can get any bigger than Chandler Jones, so be it. But that right there is a big move, and in the process, trading away Yannick Ngakoue to the Indianapolis Colts for Rock Ya-Sin. So now you have Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, Rock Ya-Sin, all on that defense.
Yeah,
Jonathan Abram, who can kind of be like your safety linebacker hybrid who hasn't really played all that well the last couple of years since being that high-round pick out of Mississippi State. But that's a pretty good pass rush right there.
And it was
Bilal
already
Nichols, too, this morning.
Yeah,
like,
I forgot about that
today.
one. They got that defense. I think receiver. And maybe to spend one in round one. Maybe just draft the best guy on the board for you. Yeah. You got Hunter Renfrow, Brian Edwards at receiver. That's not enough, which I think Raiders fans know. So I'd say receiver, maybe some more offensive line help is where you're searching for next.
Mishka, $2. Who does Arizona target with Christian Kirk and Chase Edmonds gone?
Good question. Again, how do you feel about Allen Robinson to replace A.J. Green? How does that sound?
He's too similar to DeAndre Hopkins, in my opinion.
Okay, that's fair. No, I think that's fair. So maybe one. How about Will Fuller?
I like him.
Vertical threat. You can keep Rondale Moore as your slot.
That's what Christian Kirk did so well. Was he was able to stretch the field vertically.
Yeah, and coming out of the slot too. He had that vertical slot ability. So it's an interesting situation for Arizona. They've been quiet-ish. You got to figure out edge now too. Chandler Jones is gone. You redid the Devon Kennard deal. You kept Marcus Golden, but maybe I don't know. Maybe Dennis Gardeck is like your superstar breakout player, but I think they need more help here.
Yeah, Light Gaming saying Will Fuller is ass. He's ass because he can't stay healthy. He's also ass because he's hurt. As a vertical threat, though, for Kyler Murray to take the top off of the defense, as a good complementary weapon to Zach Ertz and DeAndre Hopkins, then in that case, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
So.
And it shouldn't be expensive either.
Yeah. No, especially after signing that one-year deal with Miami last year and, once again, struggled to stay healthy. Biggest NFL free agency winner. We want to give some more shout-outs to the people. 2,400 people watching live, 810 likes. I want to challenge the audience because I love challenging the audience and challenging the people. I'm going to put a timer on for 1 minute. And in 1 minute, how quickly can we get to 1,000 likes? Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video.
Do it.
I am challenging all of you to show up and show out by liking the video. And if we get to 1,000 likes, we're going to take some shots here on the show.
Get just a little bit tipsy.
45 seconds left. 145 likes remaining. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. If you're having fun, if you're enjoying our coverage, Monday, live for 8 hours. Yesterday, live for 6 hours. Today, to be determined. But we've been live already for almost 2 hours.
Ooh,
so
75 away.
75 away. 20 seconds to go. Can we get there?
I don't know if they got
and
it.
have the time of our life.
There's
49 away.
Oof.
We're 10 seconds away.
There's always a bit of a delay between like the start of the clock, like with the YouTube input delay.
I think we're going to be able to get there.
9:87. How much time is left, Chase?
5 seconds left.
We're going to get it. We got it.
We got it.
We got it. Shot time. Let's
Pour
go.
up the shots. Also, biggest winners. I'm seeing Broncos.
Yep.
Chargers. Zach Attack. I'm not liking. Hey, you're watching, though.
It's okay.
Miami from Justin. Rebel CP. Broncos. Definitely not Washington from Senor.
You love to see it.
Broncos from Rebel. Miami Light Gaming. Philly from Mariners fan. I love the Hassan Reddick deal. I do.
I do too. I mean, I think that individually, outside of the J.C. Jackson one, yeah, I'm good to go. I think that is the best move so far. I think that's undervalued for Reddick, although the edge rusher market past couple years has
23.5 sacks the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's not been what I thought it was going to be on the open market. I mean, maybe it's age and size are issues there for Chandler Jones and Reddick respectively, but I think it's a great move. So
cheers, gang.
Bottoms up.
Whew. Yikes.
Here we go. All right.
Little Cinny. That's Cinny hitting.
Little
All right,
Jackie.
Let's get to this report from Dov Kleiman. While the Falcons informed Matt Ryan of their pursuit of Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson per report, Chris Mortensen, the Browns have not done the same with Baker Mayfield. It caught him by surprise. And maybe that's why he wrote that soliloquy, saying goodbye to Cleveland and thanks for everything, Cleveland.
Mort also just said on ESPN that the Browns and Baker are going to break up regardless of if they get Deshaun.
Wow.
So I wonder if
kind
both
of felt we were trending in that direction.
Yeah,
right?
Clearly my take was freezing cold takes like a half hour ago.
I imagine Petey's all over that one.
This one feels like both sides are kind of mad at each other. This feels like your boyfriend, girlfriend are mad at each other because they don't communicate very well. And, you know, one of them said they'd be home by 8, and then they were home at 10, and they were out with the boys, and she wanted to spend time with him.
And then she gets mad at you for doing the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it's all just a disaster, and it's toxic.
It doesn't lead to marriage.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
You called off earlier.
Yeah. So, quote, the Browns and Baker Mayfield are breaking up regardless if Deshaun Watson lands in Cleveland. That, according to Chris Mortensen.
What are the Browns going to do at QB then? Are they going to go get Jimmy G?
Jimmy Garoppolo?
Makes them a playoff team, I think.
I think it does, too.
Baker was this past year for Baker was really disappointing for me.
Yeah.
Because that last like 10-ish game stretch of 2020, he was playing like a top 10 QB. He had taken that step forward.
And then waiting for him to take.
And then this year, I'm like, it's going to continue. He's going to break out. He's going to get the bag. And he went the wrong direction, trying to play through injury. But it wasn't just the injury stuff. It was like, I don't remember what game it was. It was the primetime game against the Steelers, I think. He drops back. They're calling like 3 hitch routes. There are 3 guys wide open. Baker's got a clean pocket. He just doesn't pull the trigger. He just holds it and then tucks and takes a sack. It was just like, it wasn't like the scheme issue in Cleveland. It's that your QB's got to throw the football. So Baker's regression was really disappointing to me.
I agree. Other news, Chris Hubbard returning to the Browns on a 1-year deal. Washington Commanders issued a RFA tender to kicker Joey Sly worth $2.5 million.
It's the original round tender.
Yeah.
A lot of those going to kickers.
He's going to be their future kicker. Where will Baker end up? Let us know a destination. Tom's going to give some shout-outs. I got to fire out a Niners-related tweet. So where will Baker end up I'm going to issue a tweet
good.
at Chase_Senior. Tom's going to give some shout-outs.
All right, so we got Seattle, Miami, Saints, Miami, Hawks. That's the Seahawks. Miami again. Miami, Colts. Colts again. Indy, Baker to Texans, Baker to Steelers, Indy, Steelers, Hawks, Colts, Dolphins, Colts, Dallas. There's a backup. Actually, I don't hate that idea. Indy, Carolina, Indiana. Okay. Raiders, Miami, the Battlehawks. Now we're having fun in there. Colts, Seattle, Jets, Colts, Pittsburgh, Walmart. Wow. Houston, Indiana, the Flint Tropics. Great team. Colts, Panthers, Eagles in there from sports fan Mark. Houston, Saints, the Washington Generals or whatever they are. The USFL. Houston, Light Gaming calls it the best live ever. Thank you. We appreciate that. Lakers. There you go. Maybe you can shoot, unlike Westbrook. Saints, Miami. By the way, quick aside, it is so soft that Westbrook doesn't like to be called Westbrook.
Yeah.
Make a shot. Make a shot. It's
Yeah.
fine. Get over it. You're a professional athlete making millions of dollars. You're fine. Panthers, Chiefs, New Jersey Generals, and then Progressive and Hulu also in there. I find that one quite funny. I'll also make note on the Mort side of things here. He says Jimmy Garoppolo is a possibility for Cleveland as a replacement, which I actually think does make sense. If you are out on Baker, that's probably one of your safer, more affordable options out there for a team that I think he'd be just fine in a not that different style of offense, by the way. That it's still kind of based upon the wide zone style there. So interesting there. More shout-outs here, then we'll get Chase back on. Got to fire off them bangers, bud, I know. Yep. Jets, Cowboys back up. Trade Wentz for Baker. I assume that means Colts. You swap out Wentz, get Baker there. Behind Tom Brady for a year or two. I don't hate that.
Oh, man.
Now, the money and timing is tricky, but I don't hate that idea.
Yeah, like you break down the player that is Baker Mayfield. It's hard to really criticize him for last year because I legitimately think that he was so banged up.
Mm.
Also, in that same sentence and on that same point, he hasn't done himself any favors. And coming out of Oklahoma, I like this confidence. Mm-hmm. I like the swagger. But you can also, temper that and act like an adult and not be hostile toward the media. And Baker Mayfield hasn't done himself any favors in that regard. So.
I get it. I think that they want an adult, which this is turning ugly if that stuff's getting out.
Yeah.
That's not good when that type
also,
of stuff
though,
begins to go down.
For the Atlanta Falcons to tell and inform Matt Ryan that they're pursuing Deshaun Watson.
It's a sign of respect.
That's a sign of respect. For the Browns to not do the same for their former number 1 overall pick. And yes, Andrew Berry didn't draft Baker Mayfield. That is not the same level of respect.
No, it's not. And that's a bit of a red flag, I'd argue, there in the end. Yeah. So it's a unique situation in Cleveland. And speaking of Cleveland, by the way, Chase, they've also re-signed Chris Hubbard. 1-year deal. We don't know the details there. Hubbard's been a kind of a swing offensive lineman for them in the past. That tackle room is actually kind of good. Jack Conklin, Jedrick Wills, James Hudson, Blake Hansen. Hubbard can play guard for you as needed. So that offensive line's in good shape, assuming Nick Harris is their next guy up at center.
All right, we'll catch up on some more super chats here.
That's right.
Liam Cool plays 99 cents. Also, $277 in super chats. More than 1,000 likes, 2,400 people watching live right now.
It's another shot. It's another shot for 300.
So 1,300?
Yeah.
Okay, 1,300 likes. We'll take another shot. Appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. We've been live all week for NFL.
300 supers is a shot.
$300 in super chats is another shot.
1,300 likes is another roulette wheel spin.
There we go. So we are $23 away from $300 in super chats. Thanks to all of you for really being a part of our NFL free agency coverage. Live for 8 hours on Monday, live for 6 yesterday, and today already we've been live for almost 2 hours as we are officially 16 minutes away from the start of the new NFL league year.
Yeah, to make clear what that means is that's when deals can be made officially official. So if you're re-signing a guy, you can get that deal done. Trades that have been agreed to, the Amari Cooper one, for example, that one can now be made official as well. And then if you're looking for, signing players outside your own organization, that can then be made official. They can be agreed to,
Yep.
but made official starting in that 15-minute window from now.
Here's our Super Chat menu, and we'll catch up on some Super Chats right after we take you through the menu. It's the best menu out there, man. You don't need a QR code. It's right on your screen. $5 beer cheers, $10 we'll talk about your squad. We've done that a lot today. Appreciate all of you for those $10 Super Chats. $15 roulette wheel spin. $25 we'll take some shots. $50 I'll shotgun a beer. $100 Das Boot. 3 beers and a glass boot. Somebody from Chat Sports has to come in, and they have to drink all of it.
Let's make Brett do it.
Oh, Brett doing it?
Yeah, let's make Brett do it. That'd be funny.
Brett being chosen as the Das Boot victim.
I'm not paying
Next
attention.
up. All
Someone
right.
please do it. It'd be really funny.
Another move for Seattle. Austin Blythe going to the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
This is interesting because I thought he was going to have a lot more interest last offseason when the Rams had him. He didn't have any real market, ended up going to the Chiefs, played 12 snaps last year. So I don't think this can be the only move at center left for Seattle because, I mean, I thought they could have signed him last year and started him. Nobody did that. So this is probably a backup interior offensive lineman is what you're getting here for Seattle. That's got value. This is your Kyle Fuller replacement in Seattle, not the cornerback one. There's also a center who's not going to be brought back by Seattle. I think that position, that flex point, pivot point in the middle of the offensive line, still a huge need.
Good stuff. Let's catch up on these Super Chats. We'll run through these pretty quickly. Heat Lifer, what are the odds of the Saints getting Jarvis Landry?
I actually like that fit.
Yeah.
I mentioned the Bears. I should have mentioned the Saints. I think that's a good idea for New Orleans. Landry's not what he was in his prime, but he's still a good football player. He can help you as an older veteran slot-only guy.
Deshaun, can Washington hold the X button and revive Carson Wentz? This is my concern for Wentz going to Washington. I think Wentz can play. 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. He's reckless, doesn't stay healthy. A lot of buzz about him not being the greatest leader.
Huge red flag
that
for me.
Washington offensive line is not good. And he didn't play in front of a good offensive line his last year in Philly. It wreaked disaster. So that's my big concern for Wentz going to Washington.
I think you nailed it pretty heavily there. Wentz kind of falls into and this is maybe me being a little bit mean, early round pick, therefore he's good. Like, yeah, he hasn't been.
2017, he was awesome.
He was
also,
awesome.
That's 5 years ago.
Exactly. It was a long time
Yeah.
ago. So, yeah, he had the 1 year. Yeah, he was unbelievable on third downs, by the way, but which I love when my QB does that. That's important for me. But I don't see the consistency. Like, he's better than Sam Darnold. But, like, it kind of falls into a similar category. If people told me Darnold was good, but he's never actually been good, but he was a third overall pick. Therefore, he's a good football player.
RJ, $5 Super Chat. Monday,
Beer cheers.
I had NFL Network on, and it was just not doing it for me. I happened to come across this channel, and I'm so glad.
Awesome.
I've been on all week. Cheers and go Chiefs. Honestly,
we have a Chiefs channel, by the way, RJ,
Yes.
if you don't know that.
the Chiefs Report, hosted by the great, the legend, the homie, Harrison Graham. I'm also going to finish my beer for RJ, and Harrison's actually working on a Chiefs video right now. So
Nice. There we go.
go check
Perfect.
it out. RJ's pushing it out right now. It's going to be up momentarily. I'm going to finish my beer for that Super Chat
Cool.
and the kind words.
Yeah, if you haven't already, folks, please subscribe. We welcome RJ and everyone else who is new here to the channel. We're live multiple times a week. We do daily videos on everything going on around the NFL, and you know we'll be live for the entirety of the NFL draft as well, breaking down every pick, because unlike NFL Network and ESPN, when we get to day 3, we don't do boring interviews and talk about the round 1 picks again. Instead, we break down the actual moves that have gone down. We talk about the players who are picked because that's what you guys care about in the end.
Richie Miller, $2 Super Chat. Philly, offer 15 and a second for DK. Any other wide receiver for trade? Honestly, if I'm Philadelphia, I would give up a first-round pick for DK Metcalf.
I would too.
You took J.J. Arcega-Whiteside in front of DK. Obviously, that was just awful for Philly. And then you really follow that up by taking Jalen Reagor in the first round ahead of Justin Jefferson.
Which one was worse?
I think Reagor, because
I
I thought
agree.
he had no business going in the first round. In the second round pick, at least it's a little bit more variance in terms of hit and miss.
Yeah.
Either way, bad for Philly. Offer a first-round pick and a second for DK, I would think about it. Him as a really Terrell Owens type of prototype next to Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert with Miles Sanders going into the final year of his rookie contract, That's pretty appealing for Jalen Hurts. They have to find out if Hurts could play this year, get him some weapons, and it helps you do that. Jameer CP. Shout out to the 215 in Philly. That's where Jameer is watching from. Watson or Jackson to be your quarterback. Who are you picking?
Yes.
I'm going Deshaun Watson. I think he's a better passer. And it's a slight edge over Lamar Jackson because I think Lamar, ever since he came into the league, first, a guy like Bill Polian said he's a wide receiver.
Clown.
He silences those doubters, right? But every single season, he's had something to work on, and he's worked on his deficiencies and his flaws. That's what great players do. And I thought last year Lamar was a good passer. I just think Watson can win from the pocket a little bit more, and I think that's how you win in today's NFL.
Yeah, I would be happy with either guy as my franchise QB, but I think you're right. I think Deshaun's the better one.
By the way, it looks as though Randy Gregory's deal with Denver is all good. Dallas tried to make a late push today to try to convince him and sway him to come back to Dallas. Unsuccessful, at least according to Jeremy Fowler.
The negotiations that we talked about for Tank Lawrence, how bad that got for a while, and then they swooped in last second, was the exact same way for Randy.
Yeah.
Things were not going well with negotiations, and Jerry comes in, tries to save the deal, and then they add that in, whatever. Who was to blame doesn't matter all that much, I guess, in the end. And it just falls apart, and I just think Randy's side was done, and maybe the Cowboys side was done too. It feels just like really good marriage fell apart real quickly all of a sudden. That surprised people.
$10 super chat from Jay or Jai. Hopefully I pronounced it right one of the two times. Haha. Sorry, Coop. You like that? Likelihood Eagles get any wide receiver talent, Allen Robinson or DK Metcalf?
I would not get my hopes up for DK.
Yeah, I would.
Seattle is rebuilding, but DK's a young piece that they should keep as like the core of their rebuild. You don't sell everybody when you've got good young talent.
Yeah, and we'll spend some time on Philadelphia because that was a $10 super chat. We'll talk about your team. Hassan Reddick, $15 million per year for a premier pass rusher is a great deal. He's still young. He's still affordable. I like his versatility. He can get after the passer, but also he can drop back in coverage. And now you're looking at a defensive line. It's pretty good. Brandon Graham coming off a severe injury. Josh Sweat off the contract extension. Javon Hargrave off the best year of his career. And if they hold on to Fletcher Cox, you pair that up with Hassan Reddick, it's a really good front four. And when Philly's been at its best, they've been really good at attacking the opposing quarterback. And that's what the idea is in bringing in Hassan Reddick. You'd have to trade for DK. I think Seattle wants to figure out quarterback first. Maybe they even give him a contract extension. Whichever quarterback goes there, Tyler Lockett, DK, pretty solid options. Allen Robinson would be the free agent.
Yeah, what are you looking for at receiver for Philadelphia? Like, what kind of archetype?
Like, I think you can get Juju Smith-Schuster on another short-term, pretty nice value deal. And I'd like to see him in that role of being that possession wide receiver as a good complement to Devontae Smith. Allen Robinson, I love his contested catch ability. It would be a lot like what the Eagles did with Alshon Jeffrey, somewhat similar players who can high point the football. I'd say Allen Robinson's better, but similar types of guys. So that's kind of my thoughts on that.
How do you feel about drafting Drake London?
I like Drake London.
If you want that A-Rob type of like skill set.
Yeah. Oh, Jake Glazier. Teams involved in Deshaun Watson trade talks believe an answer is coming perhaps as early as today or tonight.
I will be livid if they do this like 3 a.m.
Me too.
I'll be so pissed.
It has to be during prime business hours.
Yes.
If it's not,
do it
that's
now.
Business malpractice.
Do it now.
We'll do it now. Brett, $2 super chat. I'm doing Das Boot, LOL. $100 super chat. Somebody from Chat Sports will come in and do it.
Yeah.
So, Brett, if you want to do it yourself, you can do it.
Yeah.
And if you do it, send me a video at Chase_Senior. I'll give it a retweet and we can share it on the show.
I will make note that we are $5 away from doing it's another shot, actually, is what's up next.
Yeah.
Another shot.
Another shot, $5 away. $2 super chat, Tyler. We've had a bevy of these $2 super chats. Eric Flowers to the Bears or Landon Collins to the Bears. Any thoughts there? I'm not sure.
Flowers intrigues me since you lost James Daniels, which I think is an interesting idea in terms of like cheaper replacements there. I think you could make him and Cody Whitehair work. Safety Landon Collins. Sure, I think he's a linebacker at this point. He's not
box guy.
He's not. He can't run up in coverage. I would almost draft someone in round 2, pair him with Eddie Jackson.
Mr. Awesome Guy, 222. T for Temple U, class of 2015. Let's ride. Dijon, another super chat, $2. Who's a better quarterback, NBA YoungBoy or Lil Durk? I guess Lil Durk.
I haven't seen either of them throw.
Yeah. Is there video of Lil Durk chucking the football?
How big is Lil Durk?
Let me see.
Let me just see what his
I got to see
what
if
his
Lil
build
Durk
is.
can chuck it, man.
He's 5'11", 150, so they say.
If we get, all right, how about this? If we get a $100 super chat, I'll shotgun a beer, then I'll walk outside and I'll throw a football 50 yards. How about it? All right, $50 super chat. I'll shotgun a beer.
You just
want to
shotgun a beer,
and I'll chuck a football 50 yards.
How about?
And then it'll be me over NBA YoungBoy and Lil Durk.
We are over $300, by the way. If you want to do another shot here.
Yeah. All right. $5 super chat.
Yep.
Daniel Shegog, take the shot. What safeties or corners make the most sense for the Eagles?
You answer this question, I'll do the shot.
Look, I mean, if you bring back Steven Nelson, I think that's a pretty good deal. He worked out well last year for Philly. And if you get him on like a 2-year, $7 million deal, I think that's really good value. As far as a safety goes, look, they were in on Marcus Williams, right? They were kind of finalists for him.
I would have loved
Saint
Reed,
safety who signed with the Baltimore Ravens.
I'd have loved
Justin Reed to Philadelphia. At this point, like, do they go with the cheaper option out there? Maybe. You know, the whole Anthony Harris thing was okay for them last year. He's a good tackler, but is he a good coverage safety? Not so much. But yeah, I'll take the shot too.
There you go. All right, I owe beer cheers for that too. Cheers. And then Edwin next up. Vikings next move. I'd go with a corner. Like I look at that team, and I think you're fine on offense. You've invested a lot in recent years, but outside of Cam Dantzler, you don't have much on your roster. So I would like for them to sign a corner. Maybe you just bring back Patrick Peterson. Maybe you go spend some big money in that market. Edge is an area of concern. You kind of took care of linebacker with Jordan Hicks, so I'm looking corner at this point for the Minnesota Vikings. All you, Chase.
$10 super chat from Jai. You pronounced it right. I appreciate it. Which one was it, though? Jay?
He's got the phonetic in there.
Jai, right?
Yeah,
that would be Jai? Okay, I didn't see that. Sometimes, like, it gets confusing with the characters and stuff. Okay, got you.
The I and the J look super similar.
$10 more to talk bad about the Cowboys. Your friendly neighborhood Eagles fan.
All right.
Grew up in the Dub C, man.
I'll take it.
6-1-0.
I'm an adult,
Yeah,
unlike Baker, apparently. They're cowards. Like that's what they are. They are not willing to spend big. Like there was a report that came out a little bit ago that the Cowboys are now doing their due diligence on Zadarius Smith. There's interest there. Okay, they were doing due diligence on Von Miller. Okay, who cares about due diligence?
Yeah,
that just sounds like CYA. They're just covering their ass. So they don't spend money in free agency because they want to pay their own. But then what ends up happening is this year they're like, you know what? Our own free agents, go to the open market. Let's see what you get, and then come back to us. Okay?
Yeah.
Like that's just going to make you lose players or play the most money possible. Like that's not good business strategy. And I don't think that as a negotiating team from a contract and trade perspective, I think they border on incompetent. They haven't won a trade in forever, like at the moment or in the long run, since the Steve Walsh trade. Post Herschel Walker, they got a first-round pick for the backup QB. They ain't won one since Jimmy Johnson was there. They badmouthed Amari Cooper through the media for weeks, and they were like, "Oh shit, we should try to trade him," and got nothing back because they've been bad-mouthing them. Like they're not good. They're not good.
You wanted them to talk bad about the Dallas Cowboys.
I did.
That's a nice little rant there. Clip that for the social media pages. Heat Life for a 10-piece. Let's bring it up. Besides a quarterback and wide receiver, what do you think the Saints also need?
Yeah, I mean, they took care of safety.
They fulfilled safety with Marcus Maye.
That's, again,
huge need.
Cap doesn't exist.
Yes.
You mentioned offensive line. Now, they redid the deal with James Hurst. Maybe that's their plan to take over in the event they lose to Ron Armstead. I think I saw they brought back Shai Tuttle. Not 100% sure on that one. I would love an impact defensive tackle. I would love a 3 technique like, shoot, you go to Devontae Wyatt or Jordan Davis round 1.
Yeah.
I think it'd actually be a pretty good pickup there. And then you brought back Bradley Roby, so that's kind of it. This team's good if they can figure out QB.
Oracle saying, Tom, so are you saying the Cowboys aren't that good?
Saying that they're not well run, and I'm saying that recent years of having a good quarterback play has kind of bailed them out. They're good at drafting. They're a very good drafting team.
The countdown is on. 1 minute until the start of the new league year.
It's more like 30
Jack,
seconds.
I'm looking at 2:59. I'm not looking at like seconds, okay?
Oh!
What happened?
Titans are cutting Julio Jones.
Oh!
There we go. New league year.
The new league year is here. A lot of stuff is happening here.
Yeah, you tell him, Jack.
The Titans are releasing Julio Jones. Yeah, that worked out for Tennessee.
There'll be a lot going on. We'll take our time, get to it. We'll spend a lot of time on the Julio Jones side of it.
Raiders
by the way.
expected to sign Brandon Bolden.
Okay.
That'll be a $500 super chat run for Mitch.
They did get a Patriots player after all. How about that? And that one's fine. That's like kind of your RB3 special team stud. That's probably like 1 year, $2 million, something like that. So, the Julio though, whew, about
Wow,
that.
Julio Jones.
I didn't think they were going to, but I thought that they could.
And he's out.
That is something from that perspective. So, wonder what they're planning. Because now receiver's a huge need for them. Because you got A.J. Brown and not a whole lot else from that perspective, which makes it interesting there. Nick Kwiatkowski is being released as well.
Wow.
Which isn't a huge surprise.
So, look, now that the new league year is here, a flurry of transactions are going to be made official, and then there are going to be a lot of new transactions as well.
Mm-hmm. Vikings added one of the Rams' backup tight ends, Johnny Munt. Just make note of that. That's not that big of a deal there, but Julio getting cut right as the new league year starts, like right at the buzzer, is pretty fascinating there.
Yeah.
Albert Breer just mentioned this. One thing to file away on the Deshaun Watson front. Last year when Watson suitors called, the Texans didn't want the young QBs. The teams engaged them in, and then they like Davis Mills. So, okay, that's not a huge surprise. I guess that's a kind of duh. Mills played well last year.
Kyle Allen to the Texans.
Interesting.
1 year, $2.5 million.
Interesting. Okay.
Back up, still 26 years old.
Okay.
Last year and a half with Washington. Of course, has starting experience with Washington, and mostly with Carolina, though.
Mm-hmm. All right, some super chats here. Let's get to those.
Yeah. $10. Adam. Julio to the Saints. Thoughts?
I'm fine with it. I don't know I don't know what happens to Julio now because he's coming off 2 down years in a row. I start to think that teams might think, hey, we're not sold on Julio anymore. We don't think he's going to be the same guy. Like this level of production is bad for Julio. Maybe it's the QB, maybe it's not, but they are, by the way, going to make this a post-June 1st cut, meaning $9.5 million in savings down the road once June hits.
Yeah.
It's just that's a bit of a surprising move here.
It is.
I think.
Yeah, so I'm looking at some of the financial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's likely a post-June 1 designation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, $9.5 million of savings for the Titans on June 2nd. They spent a second and a fourth to bring him in last year. They paid him $15 million, too. So that's a stunner, man.
I mean, and they redid his deal. So they actually they redid his deal to save some money last year on the salary cap, which, that makes sense. But now you're kind of like, shoot, we kind of messed that one up. I mean, when you're looking at their receiver, like under contract right now, it's A.J. Brown, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and Dez Fitzpatrick, Cameron Batson, Marcus Johnson, Chester Rogers, I think, are all free agents. So it's not great in Tennessee, and I had already been mocking them receivers in round 1.
Yeah.
Kind of think that continues to be the case.
I mean, look, you still have A.J. Brown. You still have Derrick Henry. Like, that's a really good team still. And Julio, he gave them 400 yards of receiving last year, 434. Looking at the screen here, I mean, That's yeah.
Yeah. I also mentioned Ryan Gledhill's. I don't think we talked about his $10 super chat. Talk about the Jets' moves in free agency so far.
I love what they've done.
I
You
think
wanna
it's
run through
really
some of
good.
what they've done?
Yeah. I mean, their moves overall have
Lincoln
been.
Tomlinson's a great sign.
He'll flip to the right side. That really solidifies the interior of that offensive line.
Elijah Vera Tucker, now left guard, right?
Yeah,
Or
he's left guard.
to play left guard.
He's really good. They did lose Morgan Moses. That one I thought kind of hurt at least a little bit. I like their safety moves. Whatever ends up happening with Marcus Maye, that was fine. You took care, I think, that position overall. You brought back LaMarcus Joyner. I'm drawing a blank on the other safety they signed. It's a good football player. Jordan Whitehead, that's who it is. Thank you.
Yeah,
you signed DJ Reed to take over at the cornerback position. CJ Uzomah takes over at tight end. That was a glaring need for them. They've got somebody good here now. I think you also added Dan Feeney, if I saw that correctly, as some depth offensive line help. And they still got some needs, but they are trying to build around Zach Wilson, and that's smart from their perspective.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, we're about to go into further detail on Julio Jones being outright cut by the Tennessee Titans. A shocking move right when the league year was made official at 4 o'clock Eastern. So we're going to talk about that in further detail. This is why you subscribe. I mean, we were live for 8 hours on Monday, 6 hours on Tuesday. We've already been live for a couple of hours today, and we're going to be continuing to go live today, reacting to all of these news and rumors items as they're made official. And also, there's going to be new moves coming in. Jake Glazier reporting that he thinks that maybe Deshaun Watson could get traded today. So if that happens as well, we'll have you up to date with all the latest on Deshaun Watson too. But right now, we're about to talk about the Tennessee Titans and really some of the implications that come along with cutting Julio Jones. So, Jack, as soon as you tell me that we're ready to rock, we'll dive into this.
I got the money pulled up, by the way. I've figured out the money side of things. So.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
We'll just get to 8 and we'll be straight on that. Yeah. All right, cool. You're watching Tennessee Titans Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. Alongside me is Tom Downey. Right when the new league year hit at 4 o'clock Eastern, the Tennessee Titans pulled off a really surprising move by cutting Julio Jones, who they mortgaged draft capital for last year in a trade with the Atlanta Falcons and paid him more than $15 million in 2021. Tom, you have some of the financial implications that come along with letting go of Julio Jones. What are they?
Yeah, some erroneous information I've already seen out there on social media because, contract stuff's really confusing. Julio Jones had an $11.513 million base salary this year. They'd also restructured his deal to save a little bit of salary cap space last year. They owe him $2 million of his base salary this year. The Titans are making this what's called a post-June 1st cut, meaning they release him now, and he hits the open market right now. They do not get their money savings until after June 1st. What this does, it takes the dead money, all the money that was owed that had already been paid to Julio Jones, but had been spread out over the rest of his contract. That all gets accelerated into year 1 right now on the contract. But post June 1st, you spread it out over 2 years. So the Titans save $9.5 million in salary cap space this year. That will hit the books on June 2nd. That will then be used to carry over a little bit and also pay for their draft class. It leaves a $4.8 million dead cap hit total this year. That was already factored into the savings. He had a $14 million cap charge this year. Math adds up nicely. Next year, the Titans owe him $8.4 million on their salary cap. They had a 14 and change cap charge. So they saved $9.5 million this year, and we'll just round it nicely and say they save $6 million next year. Julio Jones still gets the $2 million fully guaranteed. I'm told there are no offset language on that, meaning Titans owe him that no matter what. So Julio Jones done in Tennessee as the Titans move on after just 1 year of a pretty disappointing trade result for them.
Your one-word reaction to Julio Jones being cut: shocked, surprised, waste? You let us know in the comment section down below. And this is why you subscribe to Tennessee Titans Today by Chat Sports, because Tom Downey is breaking down all of the latest cap implications with Tennessee and letting go of Julio Jones. Also, $8.4 million dead cap hit in 2023. And again, this is why you subscribe to the channel, approaching 3,000 subs. You see that link down below. That'll take you to the best Tennessee Titans news and rumors, youtube.com/Titans Today. Subscribe for multiple videos per week on the latest on the Tennessee Titans. And Tom, the overall takeaways from this, really, this is a classic example of chasing name over player. Last year, the sweepstakes for Julio Jones were on, and the idea was sexy at the time, right?
Yeah.
Julio Jones is a future Hall of Famer, and even 2 years ago, he had some level of production. You team him up with A.J. Brown. You have Derrick Henry at running back. Ryan Tannehill, with those weapons, can be a very solid quarterback, but he ends up being a bust because the injury issues once again surfaced. Only was able to put forward 31 catches, 434 yards, only a single touchdown. Didn't really flash at times either. And at the end of the day, a waste of money for Tennessee, a waste of an opportunity for them. And really, it goes down as a swing and a miss for Tennessee for last year. But moving forward, they will be able to save some money to help build the rest of that roster out.
To kind of put this in perspective, the level of falling off we've seen out of Julio Jones. Last 2 years, 19 games played, 1,205 yards total in that time frame. Only 4 touchdowns in 19 games. That is the lowest. Like, if that were one season of Julio Jones's production, that would be his lowest yards output since 2013.
Yeah.
That's how far Julio Jones has fallen. I had listed him as a cut candidate on our Titans channel in the past, and I'd wondered, hey, how much longer is he going to be able to play at a very high level? I guess the answer, Tennessee, is they don't think at all. And I think the market for Julio Jones is not going to be what it's been in the past. Like, this is not prime Julio Jones anymore. This is 33-year-old Julio who's always battled lower body injuries. I think that's added up, and I think Tennessee said, you know what, we're done. We're out on this guy who'd been an All-Pro, at least second team, 5 straight years in a row before that. At a point, probably the best receiver in the NFL. Now, not so much.
How many Titans wins will there be in 2022? You're looking at a team in Tennessee that was the #1 seed in the AFC. Kind of quirky how standings played out in the AFC, but either way, they had home field advantage in Nashville right off Broadway. Weren't able to take advantage of it because Evan McPherson with that game-winning field goal kick in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. But let us know, looking forward, how many wins the Titans will have in 2022. Now, with the Titans wide receiver depth chart now, you take Julio Jones out of the equation. You still have one of the most gifted wide receivers in the NFL in A.J. Brown. Other than that, though, somewhat thin, right, Tom? You concerned a little bit considering that Ryan Tannehill needs all the help that he can get?
Yeah, Chester Rogers is a free agent. Cameron Batson, I don't know if they tendered him or not. I might have missed the news on that front. Marcus Johnson's a free agent, so that leaves A.J. Brown, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, Racey McMath, and Dez Patrick, a 4th-round pick last year out of Louisville, who didn't even make the active roster to open up the year. This receiver room in Tennessee is in desperate need of help, and whether that comes through free agency and or the NFL draft, they got to keep making moves very shortly.
And you take a look at some of the other moves that Tennessee has made throughout this offseason. No major splashes, really the significant news item. Julio Jones being let go. Jeff Swaim, really a blocking tight end, comes to the Titans, re-sign on 1 year, $3.5 million. Jamarco Jones, 2 years, $5.75 million with a little more than $3 million in guarantees. Ben Jones re-signing with Tennessee, so they've really prioritized retaining some of their own players to try to continue to build that culture under Mike Vrabel, who I think is maybe the most underrated coach in the National Football League. He's going back to Tennessee on a 2-year, $14 million deal.
That's their best move so
That's
far.
Their best move?
Yeah, Jamarco Jones will be a backup swing 7th offensive lineman. Jeff Swaim is tight end 2. Ben Jones will remain your starting center, though.
A.J. Moore signing with Tennessee from Houston. It's going to be a 1-year deal worth $2.5 million of fully guaranteed money.
Special teams impact there.
Yeah, special teams
that's what that is.
Impact. And look, it's so cliche to say, like, all 3 phases matter. You can lose games on special teams. The Titans know that better than anybody, right? Evan McPherson knocked through that field goal to win in the divisional round. So, like, coverage and kicks are huge in terms of special teams units in the National Football League. With what Tennessee has done so far, how would you grade what they have done so far in free agency? A, B, C, D, or F? You let us know. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe. Give some shout outs to all of you watching right now. New league year officially underway as the 2022 NFL season is officially here. Almost 2,700 people watching live. Let's see what the people are saying. My chat is just going crazy right now. I'm seeing a lot of Fs. I'm seeing Bs. I'm seeing a D. C from Craig. King Colin, the coolest. D. Tarion Whitfield. What's good, man? Going with the C. Katie Boy, F. Chua, B. The non-fan aspect of it, Tom. How would you grade what they've done so far?
I mean, they were never going to be big players in free agency, so if we're grading on a curve, we can do that, cool. But I think straight up, it's probably more in the C range. Yeah. Like, oh no, you lost what's-his-face, that's fine. Or you lost Julio, that hurts name brand, but he wasn't playing that great. You haven't added that much, so I think C's fine in the end there.
All right, more shout-outs, and
I'll also
somebody
make note,
pointed out that I said, I'm seeing a D in the comment section.
There you go.
Nice.
We hit 350 in Super Chats, so we do owe a roulette wheel spin,
Okay,
Chase.
I'll spin it right now.
Yeah. We'll get to some other Super Chats that have come in as well here in the near future. From Chris Magarvo, I got that wrong, I think. Best Giants free agency fits, what would you do? You got to wait. You're not going to spend the cap space right now with the way your roster's set up. I think they'll be quiet. I think Mark Lewinsky might be the biggest name you end up getting. All right, what do we have?
Mac and cheese ice cream.
All right, I can do that. Someone wants to grab it for me.
Mac and cheese ice cream. Who's getting it?
Looks like Chugs is on it.
Chuggy.
He's
on the scene.
Yeah.
We can run through these Super Chats more.
Yes.
Alan Buck, Matt Ryan, and Julio to the Colts. What a power team.
Be fun. I mean, it would be the best team from, 2017. Might not be quite as good, but it'd be an upgrade over what they have, I think, still, too. So I don't hate that idea. I just remember, those guys aren't what they were at their prime. This is not that team that should have won the Super Bowl in the end, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, $3 in Austrian currency? That's my guess. I'm not sure.
Do you want to try,
Tom,
Chase?
how much cap space does Dallas have? Take it away.
They've got roughly 25 million, somewhere in that range. A little bit, ebb and flowy at this point. They've got money to spend. I mean, remember, they had allocated $13+ million for Randy Gregory and have not used that since. Linked to Von Miller, linked to Zadarius Smith, excuse me. But so far, nothing. That's a bit of a red flag. You don't have to finish the entire thing, Chase.
It literally tastes like mac and cheese.
Yeah, it does. So they got money, but they're not gonna. They're just not gonna spend it. It's just not what they do. So, trade alert. By the way, the Jets are trading linebacker Blake Cashman to the Texans for a 2023 sixth-round pick. So low coming back in that particular trade there, which is fine.
Anthony Conte, what are the Eagles doing? Best value deal of free agency so far.
Yeah.
Hassan Reddick, man. $50 million per year for a premier pass rusher.
Awesome move there.
So and Blake Cashman, yeah.
I like Cashman, by the way. He fits that Lovie Smith style defense, I think, a bit more than he might fit the Ravens style, even though Lovie has adjusted his scheme. Really good athlete. That was his selling point coming out of Minnesota all those years ago. I like this move for Houston. And the Jets, I think he'd fallen out of favor, so it's fine.
William, my guy. It's not Austrian currency. It's Australia. I got family living in Melbourne, man. My dad grew up in Melbourne. So that's awesome that you're tuned in from down under. Haven't been there in a little while, but I've been there about 5 or 6 times.
Is Australia real? Y for yes, N for no. Kidding, of course, there. All right, Chase is gonna take a quick break here. So in the meantime, here's our Super Chat menu. $5 beer cheers. We'll crack one open and pour it out for us. $10, we will talk about your team. We'll spend some in-depth conversation as to what they can or could or have done in free agency. $15, we'll bust out the roulette wheel, spin it, and do something probably embarrassing like the roulette shot or the not the fireball. Jesus, Tom. The hot sauce shot I did earlier. $25 supers right to the shot glass. And $100, we will bully somebody into doing Das Boot. $50, by the way, Chase will shotgun a beer. He loves to shotgun beers. A $2 super chat from, I don't know if it's Aiden, Mickelwain. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that somewhat close. What would New Orleans trade to get Watson? So I think some of your top guys are just, they're not going to be available. You're not going to trade Marshawn Lattimore. You're not going to trade Alvin Kamara, etc. Maybe you offer one of your interior offensive linemen, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz. Maybe. Other player-wise, going to move Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? Probably not, but that's a name that I think could have some interest for Houston. You know, you brought back Carl Granderson. You restructured Marcus Davenport. I don't think they would shop Peyton Turner, but maybe that's a name you send over there. In the end, the answer is probably same it is for the Falcons and for the Browns, I think, for the most part. Draft picks. That's what you shop. You shop your first the next 3 years, your second the next 2 years. You give up almost all of your picks to go get your franchise QB. And you're not going to find Deshaun Watson in the vast majority of draft classes. So if you can do it, kind of makes some sense. So who do you think will trade for Deshaun Watson? 4 teams linked at this point to the soon-to-be former Houston Texans QB. Falcons, Saints, Panthers, Browns. That's the 4 that have been linked. It's also the pinned poll right now on our live chat. 22% for the Falcons and the Browns, 30% for the Saints, 26% for Carolina. So it's pretty even. That's where we're at on that front. Again, from Aiden, he says, Cam Jordan, Ruiz, 3 firsts, what I'm hoping for. Let me look at the Cam Jordan contract. Ruiz is definitely tradable. He's actually been a bit of a disappointment, I'd say, overall for the Saints. I thought he'd be a lot better. Jordan's contract, as it loads here, it is you can't trade that. They just restructured it. So I don't unless they haven't done the restructure yet. I don't think you're going to ship out Cam Jordan in a deal. I think you just got to add more draft picks there. Zach Taylor, Carl Nassib to the Cowboys. He'd be cheap. He'd be cheap because he's not that good. That's a Terrell Basham-esque signing in the end. So sure, it's something, but edge would still be a big-time need for the organization. Ramirez Mario, a $10 super. Thank you, my friend. Go Bears. Any news or possible trades on the Chicago Bears? Maybe Harrison Graham's heard some recent stuff here. They did add Larry Ojanobi at defensive tackle. They've thrown some investments along the offensive line as well. Maybe guard/center. Maybe you want one more guy there. You're helping out your defensive line. You lost Bilal Nichols. That's okay. Ojanobi fits that 4-3 style. Receiver, I think, right now is really the area they've got to go pursue. They've got to find help for Justin Fields. And beyond Darnell Mooney, there's not much at the receiver position. From R. Jonesy, will we see rapid-fire deals after Watson signs? It's possible. I think guys like Teron Armstead in particular are waiting to see where Deshaun goes. Things have been a little bit quiet in terms of the free agency market. There are still a lot of your top guys out there. I'll rattle off some names here. We saw Chandler Jones get signed, but Von Miller, Armstead, Gilmore, Allen Robinson, Bobby Wagner, Tyrann Mathieu, Odell Beckham, Clowney, Casey Hayward, Kyle Van Noy, Gronk, Dwayne Brown. Those are some starting and good starting caliber players on the open market. So maybe there is kind of a little trickle-down effect waiting for Deshaun. But at some point, yeah, maybe. All right, Jordan Vander West. Like you said, West. Twitter talking about Adams to the Raiders, maybe. Yeah, Twitter can talk all they want. Packers aren't going to trade him, I don't think. That'd be really shocking. Yeah, the Raiders make sense as a destination if Adams doesn't get paid by Green Bay. He's going to get paid. There's been a lot of, I don't know if it's just trying to speak it into existence, ignorance, whatever. People talking like Adams can just go to the Raiders. It's not really how it works. They could try to. I think it's the non-exclusive tag for Adams, so they could sign him to a deal, and Packers get 2 first-round picks back, or they could match the offer, which is probably what they end up doing. It's not as easy as just it happens, so I would not get my hopes up, Raiders fans, if you think you're going to be able to land Devontae Adams. Jamel Jones, Ravens get Julio to block and watch Lamar. There you go. I like it. It's funny. I actually don't mind Julio in Baltimore. I think that'd be a fine. Like, in worst case, he's better than Sammy Watkins, right? So I don't hate that idea. I am very curious to see what the market ends up looking like for the Baltimore Ravens, or for Julio Jones. Does he have interest in big money, or is it more of a low-end, cheaper type of contract? NFL Daily is also on Rumble, and if you guys have not already followed us over there, go do it. Rumble.com/NFL Daily. I'm going to get that link in the live chat right now for you guys here. It's rumble.com/NFL Daily. Our shows are over there, and later today, once we get situated for it, I'll be doing winners and losers from free agency on that live. That'll be our special Rumble-only segment to begin here. So it'll be exclusive up there to start. Rumble.com/NFL Daily. Go follow us over there. Question now for you guys. Who's your favorite NFL player? Let me get some comments, some shout-outs flowing in here. Let me move my Jack Daniels out of the way. It shows up on screen. Crap, put it back down. Favorite NFL player. Let's see. We've got Tom Brady from Big MGM. Dak, Mahomes, Daniil Hunter, Malik Willis. Not an NFL player yet, but I'll allow it. Damian Harris, Carson Wentz, Travis Kelce, Brian Dawkins, Joey Bosa, Deshaun Jackson, Jalen Ramsey, Tom Brady, Warren Moon. That's fine. JT, Jonathan Taylor, Dak, Mac Jones. That's producer Jack's burner account. Joe Burrow, Deshaun Jackson, Justin Fields, Darnell Mooney, Cordero Patterson, Russ, Matthew, A.J. Brown, Dan Bailey, Tom Brady, Aaron Donald, Luke Kuechly, Levante David, Mark Andrews, Baker Mayfield, Bobby Boucher, awesome football player, Aaron Donald, Ricky Williams, Josh Allen. Which one, though? Baker, Debo, Minka, Micah, Dak, Lamar, Ray Lewis, Rico Gathers, Chaz Green. Now we're just trolling, and I love it. Tyson Campbell, Mike Tomlin, Devonta Smith, Tyrann Mathieu, Jamar Chase, Tyler Lockett, Devin Hester, Myles Garrett, Drew Brees, Terrell Owens, OJ. Okay, and that almost got me there. Chad Johnson, Terry McLaurin, Justin Fields, Brandon Cooks, a couple Michael Thomases in a row. Barry Sanders, Budda Baker, Nick Chubb, Trayvon Diggs, Brian Dawkins, Sterling Sharp, Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino, Chad Johnson. I think we're good to bring back on Chase Sr. here now. Assume we're good there. Oh, there we go. We're good to go. There we go. What up, Chase?
Had to get a little food in me.
You feel better?
To step off. I'm going to keep it moving. So, yeah, had to get some food in me a little bit.
That's fair. All right, let's play a game. Shout out your favorite team. The first one we see. We'll give you guys a couple seconds to get your votes in here. We'll have Chase talk about, then I'll go ahead and step off here shortly.
Sounds good.
So we'll give you guys a couple seconds here. We'll let Chase play the close your eyes and point game.
Yeah.
All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chase, what's the first team that you see in there?
The Colts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
So, Tom, you're going to step aside here?
Yeah, in a
Cool.
minute.
Appreciate you, man, and it was good doing another show with you.
Oh,
so,
of course.
Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, obviously the biggest question for Indy is what are they going to do at the quarterback position? And I think once the Deshaun Watson trade happens, that's when the dominoes are going to fall. Now, according to a lot of reports out there, the Colts had at least reached out to the Houston Texans, and why wouldn't you? You wouldn't be doing your due diligence if you're the Colts and you didn't at least reach out to inquire about his availability, because Deshaun Watson is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But once Watson and that trade scenario gets settled, then the dominoes start to fall, and that's the first big domino that does have to fall. Then, it's going to take a team out of the quarterback market. So let's say he goes to one of the teams in the NFC South. The Atlanta Falcons, the New Orleans Saints, the Carolina Panthers, and the Cleveland Browns. Those are the 4 teams involved, 3 of those teams in the NFC South. That's then going to lead 3 teams who need a quarterback, as well as the Seattle Seahawks and the Indianapolis Colts. So, do they go a route of Marcus Mariota, and he is the bridge and the stopgap quarterback option, and then maybe the Colts draft a quarterback who might be a part of their future, like Desmond Ridder, right? I don't think that makes a lot of sense, because I think Indianapolis has a coach who is maybe feeling some heat beneath him in Frank Reich. I don't think he should be on the hot seat. I just think that Jim Irsay is a very aggressive and emotional owner, and he would do some crazy things like decide to trade away Carson Wentz after he chucked 27 touchdowns and 7 picks and really act on emotion, not necessarily what's smart. I think the Colts would be wise to maybe try to make a play for Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield in Frank Reich's offense could be very, very good. I think he'd be able to flourish. I think he'd go to a media market that doesn't have as much pressure in Indianapolis as compared to Cleveland, and he would feel less of that pressure that he just really had to deal with, over the last couple of years, and I think that's a big reason why that curtailed some of his play. So the big question for Indy, got to find out what the quarterback spot is. Now, they did trade away Rock Ya-Sin, the cornerback who they drafted out of Temple a couple of years ago, and did bring back Yannick Ngakoue. And in bringing in Yannick Ngakoue, you have a pretty good defense now. For a defense that was already good last year. You have DeForest Buckner as your defensive tackle. Yannick Ngakoue as your edge rusher. Darius Leonard is the highest paid linebacker in the National Football League. You have some questions at cornerback by trading away Rock Ya-Sin, but you upgrade at a bigger position of need and importance in edge rusher. We'll see what they do at safety. Other quarterback needs, other team needs, offensive guard, wide receiver, offensive tackle, as well as tight end. Need to replace Carson Wentz, though. So there you go, $10, and we talk about your squad. We also have a move that just came down across the wire, Zadarius Smith, and we also have a new addition. So not only do the Ravens have an addition on their roster with Zadarius Smith, we have an addition on NFL Daily. It's Matthew
happy
Peterson.
to be with you here, Chase. And a big move here by the Ravens to pick up Zadarius Smith, released by the Packers. I like this move. 4-year, $35 million contract. Not too expensive, and this is a Ravens team that loves their pass rushers, right? If you know Baltimore, you know they're going to go after the quarterback. They consistently always have one of the highest blitz percentages in the NFL, so to pick up a pass rusher like this, I like the move. The Packers ultimately had to give a lot of money to Rodgers, so it wasn't a move of we think he's washed, we think he's done. This is a move from Green Bay of we had to move on financially, and the Ravens are just the lucky team who's at the end of this rainbow for a pot of gold in terms of a proven player like Zadarius Smith.
Yeah, let us know what you think of this move in the comment section live here on NFL Daily. We're going to break down this move for Baltimore in further detail coming up here in just a few moments. 2,300 people watching live, 1,200 likes. Make sure you hit that thumbs up icon to like the video if you're enjoying today's show. Also, subscribe to us here at Chat Sports. If you haven't already done so, either hit that red subscribe button down below or go to youtube.com/chatsportstv. Zadarius Smith going back to Baltimore. That's the team in which he started his NFL career with back in 2015 after he went there in the 4th round in the 2015 NFL draft. Signed that deal with the Green Bay Packers, was there for 3 years. Season last year cut short, only played 1 game because of injury, but he's going back to Baltimore where he has some familiarity, and he's going to play under John Harbaugh, with the Baltimore Ravens. Going to be 30 years old this upcoming year. We'll break this down in further detail, but let us know what you think of the signing. I wanted him to go to the Chiefs, coming in from Nick. Not mad at all. All love from Physical YT. Chiefs Christopher. Nick Gann is in the chat. Mikhail. OG Beam. Let's talk about Zadarius Smith going to the Baltimore Ravens in further detail coming up right now here on NFL Daily. Welcome into the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. He is Matthew Peterson. The official league year has officially started. 4 o'clock Eastern on the East Coast, and right after that, the Baltimore Ravens made a pretty big splash here in NFL free agency by signing former edge rusher for the Green Bay Packers, Zadarius Smith, 6'4", 272, started his career with the Baltimore Ravens back in 2015 after being a 4th-round pick. Because of his solid play with Baltimore, was able to land a pretty nice contract with the Green Bay Packers. He was there for a few years. This past year, only played 1 game, and his season was cut short due to injury, but in the process, the Ravens are able to add to their defense, add to their defensive line, and bring in a player with good pedigree and good familiarity, Matthew Peterson.
And this is a move we've seen the Ravens do before. Like Pernell McPhee's a player that was with the Ravens, left to go to Chicago, then went back to Baltimore. And Zadarius Smith, who, like you mentioned, Chase, did have his 2021 season cut short, only played 1 game due to a back injury. But before that, he was one of the top pass rushers. He was a Pro Bowl guy in 2020 and 2019. 13.5 sacks in his first year in Green Bay, 12.5 in 2020. So the Ravens are trying to, I bet they'll be happy to get a 10-sack guy out of Zadarius Smith, but this is a Baltimore Ravens franchise that just has a defensive DNA in them. They love to rush the quarterback, get after him. They love to bring blitz packages. And Zadarius Smith, he offers those kind of looks for Baltimore. So I think it's a good move by Harbaugh, especially when you look at the details. 4-year, $35 million. A bit of a bargain for a player that had 13.5 sacks 2 years ago, 12.5 sacks the season before that, just played one game this past season. So you don't know what you're going to get, as it's been a bit removed for Zadarius Smith until, in terms of how much playtime you're going to get out of him. But overall, I think this is a move that the Baltimore Ravens will look back and think this is a smart signing, especially when you look at Joe Burrow, right? One of the rising quarterbacks in the division. You got to find a way to bring him down. And sure, the Bengals offensive line does that for you a lot of times by just opening up, big holes for defensive players to come through. But I think the Ravens are looking at this division, especially if Deshaun Watson ends up in Cleveland. That's another key quarterback the Ravens have to find a way to bring down to the ground.
So we'll continue to break this move down, but first, what do you think about this 4-year, $35 million deal for Zadarius Smith? When he's healthy, man, he's a really good pass rusher and pretty good against the ground game as well. Your one-word reaction to the Smith signing, let us know in the comment section right now. Pretty interesting story for him, too, Petey. He goes to East Mississippi Community College, one of the schools featured on Last Chance U on Netflix. He goes to Kentucky. He's a middle-round pick in 2015 coming out of Kentucky, 4th round. And the career progression was really, really impressive for him. As a rookie, 5.5 sacks in 15 games, 13 games in his sophomore campaign at age 24. Only had 1 sack. That goes up to 3.5. Then he really started to find his groove. 8.5 sacks with Baltimore in 2018, and we know that edge rushers are really, really important for all teams out there, and sometimes they get overpaid in free agency. That final year in Baltimore, 8.5 sacks, that's what earns him that payday, and the Green Bay Packers, for them to bet on him, it worked out. 13.5 sacks, as you talked about, Matthew, back in 2019, and because of that, he was named a Pro Bowler. The year after that, in 2020, 12.5 sacks, second-team All-Pro as a pass rusher, also made it to the Pro Bowl. And then last year, 1 game played, comes back for that divisional round matchup against the San Francisco 49ers, was able to flash just a bit. But again, player with familiarity. Yes, they change defensive coordinators, but they're going to do some of the similar things. They have a really good back end, bringing in Marcus Williams. You still have Marlon Humphreys. You still have Marcus Peters. This is a good defense. We'll see what happens with Lamar Jackson. That's really the big looming question for Baltimore. But the point here being, this team is ready to win. They're ready to compete. And Zadarius Smith is a win-now type of transaction.
He is, right? This is not this is a good developmental kind of signing. Another thing you got to remember is the Ravens likely not having Calais Campbell return, right? The star pass rusher, star defensive player up front for Baltimore, getting up in the age column, hits free agency. I haven't heard much rumors or talk of him trying to come back for one last ride. So Zadarius Smith, I think, proves a very good replacement for Calais Campbell. A bit younger, and then once again, kind of tuning out 2021. He only played 1 game, so that's not really fair to him to look at. But look at the numbers in 2020. 12.5 sacks for Green Bay, 4 forced fumbles. He was part of a good defense for the Packers. And so the Ravens, they also just like the idea. This is a Baltimore franchise that loves making good draft picks. Ozzie Newsome did that for a very long time. Zadarius Smith was one of those good draft picks. And if he wants to get the bag for another team for 3 years, like a rental almost, and then come back to Baltimore and help out Lamar Jackson and this Ravens team put together a championship roster, then this is the move to make right here. So I like the move. If you guys like the move and you want more Ravens coverage, then make sure you hit that big red button, subscribe, help our Ravens Rundown channel here at Chat Sports grow. What are we? Just over 200 subs away from 4K. So make sure you are subscribed, because if you want more Ravens coverage, this is the place for it.
Yeah, 2,200 people watching live on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, and a little more than 200 people away from 4,000 subs on the Ravens Rundown. Producer Jeremy doing a great job with building that channel up. And some just additional thoughts. We'll get to the NFL free agency tracker here. With Zadarius Smith, you prioritize really that defensive line. Now you have him, Odafe Owe. They're going to be able to pin their ears back and get after the quarterback. But in that back end, it allows Marlon Humphrey, to do his job as an island corner, and Marcus Peters to maybe take some gambles at that cornerback spot if he's not a cut candidate. You allow them to be comfortable, and really you allow some of those pass rushers to really just, put their hand in the dirt, get after the opposing quarterback. I like the makings of what the Ravens are doing on the defensive side of the football. And as for what they've done so far in NFL free agency, they made a huge splash on Tuesday by bringing in Marcus Williams. They were bidding with the Philadelphia Eagles, and they win that battle. They ink him to a 5-year, $70 million deal coming up north from the New Orleans Saints. I love his coverage skills as kind of a center field type of safety. Ravens fans know all about that with the great years of Ed Reed. Morgan Moses, 3-year, $15 million deal. It's a pretty good signing as well. Coming to Baltimore from the New York Jets, 17 games played last year, only 4 sacks allowed. So he helps beef up that offensive line, which last year was not good. And Alejandro Villanueva, he retired. We'll see what happens with Bradley Bozeman, a really good center for Baltimore. Does he go elsewhere? Because he has an opportunity to secure the bag, but positions of importance, right? Offensive line, defensive line, safety. Some of these big positions that Baltimore has spent big on in free agency thus far.
And remember last year, the Ravens were by far the most injury-riddled team. At one point, even if you didn't like the Ravens, you had to think you got to feel a little bad for these guys. So we are seeing this Ravens team add some depth. They're not taking any chances. They don't want to have back-to-back seasons completely derailed by injuries. This was a Ravens team that was going to the playoffs up until the last 5-6 weeks of the season, where injuries just completely turned it around. So you help out by help keep Lamar Jackson healthy by adding to that front line, signing Morgan Moses, who was a bit of a reach last year for the Jets, and then really I would say saved his career a little bit by putting some great play together, helping him get a 3-year, $15 million contract. So I like that move a lot for Baltimore. And then the big 2 signings, Marcus Williams and now Zadarius Smith. You add some depth to this defense. I have liked what I've seen out of Baltimore so far. Not a big surprise. This is a Ravens organization that makes good signs, makes good moves, and just puts good pieces together and always keeps himself in championship contention. So what do you think about these moves so far? If you had to grade it with a red pen, what letter grade would you give it? A, B, C, D, or F? Chase, I'm thinking a B+,
Yeah,
A-.
I'm going about that range because you have to compete in a gauntlet of a division. Pittsburgh's going to be good, and they're going to rebound. Is Cleveland going to land Deshaun Watson? We'll see. Either way, very good roster. Cincinnati coming off a Super Bowl appearance, going to be fascinating in the AFC North here in 2022. All right, let's do some shout-outs here. Some good Ravens talk on the Ravens Rundown. NFL Daily coming at you live here on Chat Sports. Seeing a lot of A's, B's. Veronica, B. Big Dog Wolf, A. Jamie Boy, A.
I see a lot of A's.
Robo Cowboy, B. 22s
That's
going
A+. You
Even
got
better.
first C+ right there, and that comes from a Chiefs guide. So I'm thinking probably just thinking about that CEH fumble in Baltimore. So
Oh, yeah.
no,
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
can't forget that one right there.
L2 Clouds back in the crib. He's going A. Rogue Brothers, A. Familiar face, big Warriors fan. Nick Miller, A. Michael Zuo, B+++++++. Joe, C. Memes a lot, B. We'll catch up on some super chats here. Every $5 super chat, we're going to take a beer cheers. Cheers to the
you.
people. Big Dog Wolf, with Tampa losing Whitehead, really good safety. Does the Honey Badger fit a possible 1-year deal? Yes.
Yeah.
He does fit the defense, has familiarity with Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles from the Arizona regime. I just don't think he's going to sign a 1-year deal.
That was my thought.
With Marcus Williams getting paid and Justin Reed getting paid.
Yeah, I don't see him signing a 1-year deal because he's worth more than a 1-year deal.
I agree.
The only way I see him signing a 1-year deal is as free agency continues and teams continue to use their money on other players, and all of a sudden money dries up. Their pockets aren't as deep as they used to be. Maybe they offer Tyrann Mathieu less money than he thinks he deserves. So he's like, you know what? Let me go sign a 1-year deal with the championship team, win a Super Bowl, and then sign another bag after that. That's probably the only way I see him up in Tampa Bay on a 1-year deal.
Rogue Brothers, Clippers fan. My bad, brother. My bad. Not Webb's World 1, $5 super chat. Another beer cheers.
Do the Steelers draft a QB like Willis to sit for a year, or is the utmost importance they draft an O-lineman or go best player available? So the Steelers getting Trubisky, I think that tells me they don't like this draft class.
No.
That's what that move made to me, because you don't sign a player like Mitch Trubisky, who, by the way, hardly played at all for the Bills. I mean, when he did play, I think his stats were like 1 interception. And so I just don't see a move like that correlating to drafting Willis, although Willis is a developmental type player, so maybe, but I think they go what you said at the end there, not Webb's World, O-lineman or best player available. I'm a big fan of BPA outside the top 10.
Yeah, because you're picking where you're picking, which is I think around 20, right?
18.
18. So you're going to have maybe a Kenny Pickett fall, maybe a Sam Howell, maybe a Malik Willis, maybe a Desmond Ridder. There's an opportunity there for Pittsburgh to get your future quarterback in the first round. I don't think you pay Mitchell Trubisky the amount of money that you're paying him, though, if you don't think he can at least be the starter this year. And maybe you want to draft a guy and develop him. That's in the cards as well.
Yeah, Steelers at 20, Saints at 18. Those are the two teams that need QBs, so that's where that number's coming from.
Here's our Super Chat menu as we're going to continue to run through these with 2,200 people watching live. If you haven't subscribed, you ain't alive. Do so right now. $5 beer cheers. $10 we'll talk about your team. $15 roulette wheel spin. $25 we'll take some shots. $50 I'll shotgun. $100 Das Boot. Somebody takes down 3 beers in 1 glass boot. And Matthew, you know all about that from online.
Yeah, what a failure on my end yesterday. The only recovery I could have is I did not expect that. It's almost like the floodgates really open.
You had to take the L.
I was not ready for that much liquid to come out at once.
Yes.
So I'm looking to rebound, and if you want to see me either fail or rebound or ruin another shirt, $100 away from doing so.
Rogue Brothers, 2 Bones, Chase, I'm a Clippers fan. Yes, I did correct that. You did not have to pay us for me to make that correction, but either way, thank you so much for supporting the show.
Yeah, we got producer Brett doing
Brett is doing the boot on the Raiders report.
Raiders going nuts right now over the Chandler Jones signing. And so producer Brett, who is kind of – he's the mom of the office.
Yes.
So for him to do a boot is pretty big. Yeah,
he's
pretty
the
much.
Mom of the office.
He's the one that's keeping sure everyone's in line still. So
that's
going to catch me some fire when I sit down after this.
What they don't know don't hurt them, right? That's a good saying out there. $10 in
what language?
Danish currency?
I think so. And Chase is the king of Denmark.
For Denmark!
They still have a king there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
so
Chiefs
you're the next heir to the throne.
He's just sending in 10, and $10 is talk about your team. He's a Chiefs fan. Any thoughts? Well, it's $10 for his currency,
in Danish
so he
krones,
can't do
I think it is.
about that. There you go.
Yeah, so thoughts
Talk
on
about the Chiefs.
Yeah,
man.
thoughts on the Chiefs here. It's the Chiefs, right? They're in championship mode now, and they will be for the next handful of years. It's just about putting the nuts and the bolts together, and for Kansas City, that's just run the ball and kick a field goal and not have a play end in a, third down to run out the first half in the AFC Championship game. Sorry to bring up bad memories, but I think the Chiefs are going to be a championship team. The only thing that maybe worries me a bit is everyone else is improving a lot around them.
Yeah.
You see what the Broncos did with Russell Wilson.
Loaded
the Chargers load up their defense. And in the NFL and really in life, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards.
Yeah.
And Kansas City can't move too much forward. They got a lot of big guys they got to pay a lot of big money to. So they can't really be making splash free agent signings. But that'd be the worry for me as a KC guy is if I see the rest of the AFC West for the first time in almost 5-6 years, Kansas City has won the AFC West 6 straight years.
Yeah.
A division record.
Yeah.
7 would be a cherry on top. You know that run's going to end eventually, so you just don't want to see everyone else catch up too quickly.
So many super chats to get to. Next level analysis from Matthew Peterson. Let's catch up on these supers.
Yeah.
$2 in Canadian currency from Alex Winston. Thank you so much for that. Aiden, I believe.
Aiden?
More moves for Aiden. Might be. One of the two. Hopefully I pronounced it right one of the 2 times. More moves for Denver as the host of the Broncos Breakdown. What do you think? I love what they've done so far.
I do too. And if you want to check it out, youtube.com/Broncos TV. Put out a video about an hour ago looking at what else they can do in free agency. The big spot they need to fill is right tackle.
Yep.
All right, so Bobby Massey hits free agency. They re-signed Calvin Anderson, who lost out in training camp to Bobby Massey. So I don't like the idea of rolling with a guy like Anderson who lost the battle a year ago. And he only gets promoted because the guy above him doesn't get re-signed in free agency. So more moves in free agency would look like a right tackle signing. Trent Brown, Teron Armstead, the best 2 tackles on the market, still available, but they're not going to be cheap. Denver with $13 million left. Don't know if they can really swing one of those signings. They also just wrapped up their press conference introducing Russell Wilson. So that was pretty cool because he ended it on Broncos country. let's ride.
Yes, and that's a saying we like to say here at Chat Sports
Yeah.
as well. The homie, What Noodle 187,
There we
popping
go.
over from the 49ers report to Chat Sports. Love it, man. What up, Chase? What do you think about Julio Jones coming to the Bay to team up with Kyle Shanahan?
Ooh.
Yeah, look, Kyle Shanahan was Julio Jones's offensive coordinator with the Atlanta Falcons during that Super Bowl year. I honestly don't really like it unless he comes over for minimal money. Now, Julio Jones can play that X receiver spot and thrive and flourish in that slot. And then you have Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle to do some damage. So in that way, maybe I like it a little bit more, but I think he's way too injury prone. The production has declined while the injuries have racked up. And I'm not sure how much he can play. He's been off injured the last couple of years. It really does come down to price. I'd almost rather bring back Jawan Jennings than Julio Jones. Go JJ in-house
Vols.
instead of JJ external. A move to get to with the Houston Texans, and we'll catch up on some of those super chats. Kwa, Cal, you said we didn't mention your super chat. We'll get to that. Dare Ugwin Boalale. There's no way I can pronounce that.
Yeah,
Signing
no.
with the Houston Texans, 2-year, $3.3 million deal. So,
Yeah, running back who's been a bit of a journeyman. I wouldn't expect much. This is a depth piece right here, so maybe he makes the roster. If not, probably all voidable.
Yeah, we running through the free agency tracker. We going back to the super chats. Okay, moves that have happened today. Deontay Foreman officially to the Carolina Panthers, 1-year deal, $2 million. Really a cool story for him. He was like exiled out of the NFL after being a third-round pick with the Houston Texans out of Texas, was able to find his footing with Tennessee last year when Derrick Henry went out. Patrick Scales to Chicago, Nathan Shepard to the Jets, Tyquan Lewis, 1-year, 3 to Indianapolis, Sam Ugwovian to the Miami Dolphins, Morgan Moses, 3-year, 15, Nicholas Morrow to the Bears. That happened like really late last night.
Yeah.
Past midnight on Eastern time. 1-year deal for him. Marcus Maye, 3 years, 28.5. That happened yesterday as well. Lucas Patrick to Chicago, 2 years, 8. What do you think about what Chicago's done, Petey?
They don't have big pockets. They do a little bit, but I think what they're doing right now is just, I wouldn't say punting on this free agency period, but lining themselves up for a very exciting 2023 free agency period as they kind of get their ducks in a row, get some draft capital back as well.
Dan Feeney, 1 year to the Jets. I really like what the Jets have done so far. Terrence Mitchell, 1 year, $3 million. Brashad Perriman back to the Bucks on a 1-year deal. He should have never left in the first place, but he secured the bag. So at the end of the day, it's good for his pockets. Artie Burns to the Seahawks, 1 year, 2. Darius Williams, 3 years up to $39 million, $18 million guaranteed, leaves the defending Super Bowl champions and the Rams to go to Jacksonville as they continue their crazy spending spree. Cam Sims to Washington, Anthony Walker to the Browns, 1 year, 5. Clark Harris to Cincinnati. Full details we'll see. Sheldrick Redwine to Miami. That's a 1-year deal. Chad Henne going to continue to back up Patrick Mahomes on a 1-year deal. He's really made a lot of money throughout his career as well. Jordan Berry to Minnesota. Uchenna Nwosu to Seattle. A lot of money for a player who has some upside. $10.5 million guaranteed. So really that's a 1-year deal because guaranteed money, really how you have to shake down these NFL contracts. Jeff Gladney to Arizona. He was found not guilty on domestic abuse charges. Former first-round pick who got cut and let go by Minnesota last year upon those charges being filed. Chandler Jones, a big splash, 3-year, $51 million. What do you think about that?
I'm thinking Raider Nation's pumped that they finally did something,
Yes.
right? Now they end up, and the next move is trading their other pass rusher away, but you gave Max Crosby a big extension, Chandler Jones on the opposite side of him. And like we talked about, this AFC West is the best division in football. And so I think the Raiders are looking at it like, you know what? We may not have the best quarterback in the division, but can we bring down the other 3 guys? And
Yeah.
They do that with Jones and Max Crosby.
And as part of that deal, Yannick Ngakoue, he's been traded from the Raiders to the Colts. So the Colts get a pass rusher. The Raiders lose one, but they bring one in Chandler Jones and get Rock Ya-Sin, a cornerback, going to Las Vegas as well. Joe Flacco going to return to the New York Jets for the third time, actually. 1 year, $3.5 million deal to back up Zach Wilson. As we talked about, Rock Ya-Sin, former Temple product, T for Temple U, going to Las Vegas. Max Williams to Arizona. Josh Harris, 4 years, $5.5 million, little less than $2 million in guaranteed money to go to Los Angeles. Rashard Higgins to Carolina. Unknown what they're going to do at the quarterback spot, but he signs a 1-year deal. Dwayne Haskins to Pittsburgh. Does that spell the end for Mason Rudolph? We'll see. Casey Kreider, long snapper to the Giants. Chris Hubbard to the Browns. You're the host of the Browns Report as well. Do you like what they've done? Obviously, the big elephant in the room, what's going to happen with Baker Mayfield?
Right. I think Baker's done in Cleveland. There's just no way you can bring him back.
Chris Mortensen reported they're done.
And as for if they don't get Deshaun Watson, which is the big question in Cleveland, what's plan B? It could be your guy, Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco. He's kind of the best QB realistically that's left. I mean, Derek Carr maybe. I don't think Carr or Cousins go anywhere. I think they're stuck in their spots. So maybe Garoppolo to Cleveland if they strike out and miss on Deshaun Watson. But Hubbard, a nice swing tackle signing right there in case Jedrick Wills, who's had some injuries in his career, or Jack Conklin gets hurt again.
All right, good stuff there from Petey. We continue to go through this NFL free agency tracker. Austin Blythe, little offensive line help to the Seattle Seahawks, 1 year, $4 million. Brandon Bolden leaves the New England Patriots to pair back up with Josh McDaniels, goes to Las Vegas. Kyle Allen, backup quarterback in Houston to Davis Mills, potentially with Tyrod Taylor going to New York. 1 year, $2.5 million, has some starting experience with Carolina and Washington. And Will Richardson to the Jags, 1 year, $2 million. And Blake Cashman traded to the Houston Texans, 2023 6th-round pick, being sent to the Jets in a move that we broke down in detail. A pretty big move for Baltimore. Zadarius Smith going back to be more the Charm City, 4 years, $35 million. And then do you dare talk about this deal, Matthew Peterson? Yeah.
Going back to that Texans trade,
yeah,
they have got some nerve making a trade today that is not Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
Because everyone saw Houston Texans trade, and it was this guy. I mean, that was just a little read the room, right? Make the deal tomorrow.
Have to.
I mean, come on. It was Blake Cashman really going to go to someone else if you would just waited a couple hours? I don't know.
Yeah. We are also putting our content on the Rumble app, rumble.com/NFL Daily. You can find more NFL news and rumors over there. What we continue to do as a company, grow and evolve like all of the other great companies out there, because we at Chat Sports are great, and we want to push content out on platforms that you as the viewers use. So just like everybody doesn't use every social media platform, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, OnlyFans, not everybody absorbs all their video content on one singular platform. So if you want to give us a subscribe count on Rumble, you can go to rumble.com/NFL Daily. Tom Downey's going to come back on live on NFL Daily and only go live on Rumble with his Day 3 NFL free agency winners and losers. So it's a good opportunity right now for you to open up Rumble on a separate window and get that ready and subscribe, because Tom Downey's going to be going live on Rumble only in about a half hour, give or take, depending on what happens on Day 3 of NFL free agency.
Another great way to support the channel, too.
Exactly right. Mikkel with another super chat coming in, the KC fan, Danish currency. Chiefs, only PR point is Chris Jones. Who can help him? So who can help Chris Jones?
I think that's what you're asking?
Yeah, Chris Jones is fantastic.
Yeah, he's a top 5 defensive tackle, defensive lineman last season.
Yeah, I wouldn't have hated like Bilal Nichols to Casey.
I think that could have been a good move.
Yeah.
Bringing Frank Clark back, though, right?
Yes.
So I don't
Restructuring.
know how much room you have to pay Jones, pay Frank Clark, and then get someone else. Bilal Nichols would have been a good move, but still some big-ish names still out there. Not all of the best targets have been signed.
Yeah, no doubt. And the thing, too, Frank Clark, his cap hit was supposed to be north of $26 million, lowered to 13. A lot of cap savings for KC. They signed Justin Reed. That spells the end for Tyrann Mathieu in Kansas City. Alex Winston, $2 in Canadian currency. What else did the 49ers do in free agency? There's some rumblings about Julio Jones now that he's been let go and released by the Tennessee Titans. Really the big move that's left to be made, trading away Jimmy Garoppolo. That frees up $26 million in cap space, which allows you to really spend a lot of money on the free agency market. We'll see what happens with Deshaun Watson. I think that sets the table for some other moves to be made for the Niners and other teams across the National Football League. Speaking of the Niners, they're going to lose one of their own. Trenton Cannon, one of the fastest players in the National Football League, a very good returner who has 4.3, 4.4 speed. He's going to sign and latch on with the Tennessee Titans. Really a special teams player who can be a solid returner. had a scary injury, upper body injury against the Seattle Seahawks late in the year where he had to take an ambulance off the field and was taken off on a stretcher. He's going to sign with Tennessee for some special teams help. R. Jonesy, $2 super chat. Does a trade for Baker involve a first-round pick, Petey?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think to best answer that is what kind of first-round pick? It's not going to be a top 16 first-round pick. But teams will see, like the Rams, they don't mind trading first-rounders because they think it's going to be the 32nd. And this year, case it was. So does it involve a first-round pick? Not an early one. The Colts and apparently the Seahawks have been rumored to be interested in Baker Mayfield. Colts don't have a first-round pick this year. But I quietly would rather have the first-round pick for Indianapolis in 2023, next year's draft. That's a much better QB draft class. So why don't you have 2 first-round picks next season? Maybe you can bundle those 2 picks together if you don't get Deshaun Watson and move up in the draft to get Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. I personally think at the end of the day, he's more of a second or third-round pick kind of guy.
So here's the deal. Tom Downey in a little while is going to come back on, and he's going to do NFL winners and losers from free agency day 3 exclusively on the Rumble app. Right now, we have $419 in super chats, and myself and Matthew Peterson, we've been known to be tanks and take down some beers because, 1, we ain't scared, and 2, frankly, we like to take down beers. We have to get to $500 in super chats, $80 more before Tom Downey comes back on. Otherwise, I'm being told in my ear that we might get fired. And we really like our jobs and living in Dallas, Texas. So our jobs are on the line, and we need some more super chats. $80 to go until $500. Good timing by producer Jack Lauderay. This is our super chat menu. $5 beer cheers, $10 talk about your team, $15 roulette wheel spin, $25 we'll take a shot, $50 I'll do a shotgun, $100 Das Boot, where somebody from the Chat Sports office will have to come on and take down 3 beers in a singular glass boot for $100 super chat. So
it's a sight
that
to
is our
see.
super chat menu. It's a sight to see.
Yeah.
Peterson knows that. So too does his shirt. Want to give some more shout outs to the people. The best NFL free agent left is whom? Stephon Gilmore? Von Miller? Any names that pop to mind, Pete?
Von Miller and Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson's
are
up
the
there
2
as well.
big ones I'm thinking of. I saw some
Stephon
Von Miller
Gilmore.
to the Browns. It'd be very fun for Cleveland to. Jadeveon Clowney's a good free agent, still on the board, still on the market for anyone looking for a pass rusher. Miles Jack, probably the best linebacker, along with Bobby Wagner out there.
Yeah. We'll do some more shout outs here. A-Rob from Dino Nuggets. Von Miller from Memes a Lot. Watson from Beast Handler. He's a trade target, not a free agent. Jaden Miles Jack. Give me Miles Jack to Carolina. You team up with Brian Burns. That's a good linebacking core. Where's Mitchell Rentz from North Jackson? He's live on the Raiders report because they've made a bunch of moves today. The most noteworthy, signing Chandler Jones. They're receiving super chats like crazy. You can catch them over there, youtube.com/RaidersTV. ARK, A-Rob. No team wants Jimmy Garoppolo from Woke Queen. We'll see what happens with Deshaun Watson first. That then sets the market for Jimmy Garoppolo. Allen Robinson to Baltimore. OBJ from Sahaj. Who is CMC? Christian McCaffrey. That coming from Y Big Jordan.
Tyrann Mathieu.
Tyrann Mathieu, unknown. I think him going to Tampa Bay to chase another ring, that could happen.
Yeah, a ton of teams. Apparently the Bears were interested in Mathieu a little bit too. So there'll be no
Badger
shortage
to
of
Seattle.
Yeah.
No way they pay big money to 2 safeties.
No, and I think they already quietly regret Jamal Adams, right? That hasn't worked out to everything they gave up for him, including the extension. So learn your lesson there, I think.
Get you caught up with the latest NFL news and rumors here. Green Bay Packers still working to re-sign cornerback Rasul Douglas. Had a breakout year last year. That coming from Aaron Wilson, Pro Football Network. Deontay Foreman to the Panthers, but they are signing Trenton Cannon, as we talked about. Let's see. Any more news coming across the wire?
No.
Not really. Carson Wentz sent out a video toward Washington Commander fans. Browns officially signed Taven Bryan, Jakeem Grant, Chris Hubbard, and Anthony Walker. Steelers cut Zach Banner. Let's see. Trent Brown.
Is he on the move?
Receiving very serious interest from the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, he had a meeting scheduled with them, and I would
think tomorrow.
If you're Seattle, you wish You did this before, last year. That's been the biggest issue with the Seahawks is keeping Russell Wilson happy. And the best way to keep someone happy is probably not having 300-pound people land on top of them. That's going to help me at least. So that's been the biggest issue for the Seahawks is how can we not get Russell Wilson sacked? And Judd Brown, bad season with the Raiders, bounce back year with the Patriots. Got to get the bag.
Yep. 2,000 people watching live, only 1,300 likes. Like the video if you're having a good time, if you're enjoying our coverage here at Chat Sports. In case you're just joining us, this ain't nothing new for us. Live for 8 hours on Monday, live for 6 hours on Tuesday, and we've been live for just over 3 hours today as the league year officially got underway 4 o'clock Eastern a little more than an hour ago. And we've been breaking down all of these moves as they've been made official. There have been trades today. Jarvis Landry news.
He's going to visit the Falcons.
He's going to visit the Atlanta Falcons. I think that would be a move, especially if Atlanta is able to pull off this Deshaun Watson trade. That coming from Diana Rossini. You cover the Browns here at Chat Sports. You think he can still play? You think his struggles were a byproduct of him being injured as well as Baker Mayfield? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think Baker helped him out much, but Landry had some bad knee injuries, and I think he played through an injury that a lot of other people probably would have just hung it up for the season, and that really speaks to the toughness. I mean, this is a player that has never missed a game due to an injury in his entire career until 2021. So I think Landry, he's not even 30 years old yet. I think he only left Cleveland because it saved him $15 million, and that was a move they just had to make, especially when they traded for Amari Cooper. So I think Landry to the Falcons. I mean, we played a game in Chat Sports office earlier. Let's see if anyone else wants to join us here. Aside from Calvin Ridley, I mean, how many wide receivers can you make on the Falcons? They got the guy at the Z. They lost.
Zacchaeus.
They lost Russell Gage.
Yeah. Frank Darby.
Oh, that's one. Okay, Frank Darby. Just thought of that one.
Zacchaeus and Frank Darby.
And there may not even be anyone else on the roster, right? So they have to sign someone, whether it is for Deshaun Watson or not. They got to get a couple more butts in seats, and Landry with Matt Ryan will help that a little bit.
Yeah, and you're probably watching right now saying, hold on, Deshaun Watson wants to go to Atlanta. Why would he want to go to the Falcons? I guess he has some type of relationship with Arthur Blank, the aggressive owner for Atlanta, because he was a ball boy for the Falcons while he was growing up in the Atlanta area, and they were able to establish somewhat of a relationship there. Then he goes to Clemson to play his college football, ends up going to 2 national championships, winning 1 with Clemson, epic games against Alabama too, while playing for Clemson. So current ATL wide receiver room, this is actually great timing from Dave Kleiman. He said this on Twitter.
Is he watching?
He might be. He might be. Matthew Peterson, chasing I'll help you out. As they attempt to make themselves more appealing for Deshaun Watson, the Falcons are trying to improve their wide receiver room with Jarvis Landry. He's coming over for a visit. Their current ATL wide receiver room, Alameda Zacchaeus, Christian Blake, Frank Darby, producer Jack's favorite player, Chad Hansen, and Austin Trammell.
Okay, here's how I break it down. Heard of Zacchaeus because of like 1 or 2 good weeks.
He's not bad.
Right?
Yeah, nice solid
Christian
player.
Blake, if I saw Wikipedia, I would know who he is. Darby, just because producer Jack talks about him every day. Chad Hansen, who? Austin Trammell, who? Right? This is a sad, lonely wide receiver room right there. And Watson, he's got some ties to Atlanta. He's from Gainesville, Georgia, which is just north of Atlanta, not far from where they practice at Flowery Mound. So there's a lot of players who are from Texas, Georgia, Florida. They all don't just come home now. I don't know how much I really read into. He's a big boy. Yeah. He's been away from home for a while now. I don't know if this is a real incentivizer to come back to a Falcons team that has nothing going. I'm sorry, on defense really, or offense. There's just not a lot there.
Another super chat just came in. We are now $79 away from $500 in super chats. Do we have some big ballers out there who could help get us to $500? Because if not, Matthew Peterson and I, we're going to have to walk home tonight. And
you love to walk. I live a lot further.
Don't tell them that.
Well, I'm saying I'm the one that's at real price here because you're the one that's
either way.
You're the one that's just walking miles every day.
Hey,
but
I love it, man.
I live far.
You do live far. So, okay, Matthew Peterson spoiled the joke. Well, he's going to have to walk home, which is further than me, if we don't get to $500 in super chats. Now, a lot of you are probably like, we're not going to pay you because we want to see Matthew Peterson go through a struggle. But either way, Tom Downey's going to come on in a little while. to do NFL winners and losers from NFL free agency day 3. He's going to be going live exclusively on the Rumble app. So before he does that, we got to get the $500 in super chats. We're $79 away, 2,000 people watching live. And Dakota Wagner, here is the $2 super chat. I like Julio Jones to New England. Bill Belly move. Jack, get on the mic. Turn that piece on.
Producer Jack's a Patriots guy.
What do you think? You're a big Patriots fan. You've been in shambles up to this point.
Perfect.
Von Miller could get more than Chandler Jones. That according to the NFL rumor atmosphere.
All right, so back to Julio.
Go ahead.
To New England.
Yeah. Now we're done with Von.
What do the Patriots need? They need a big wide receiver who is a downfield threat. That could be Julio.
If he's
now,
healthy.
If he's healthy.
Yeah.
If he's healthy. But you know, the Patriot way, it heals all.
Mm-hmm.
Let's ride.
Okay, there you go.
I thought
Producer
Jack
Lederay.
wanted Belichick fired like
Well, he called him
48
a
hours
Still
dumbass
do.
ago.
yesterday.
Still do.
Yeah, he
Still
called him a
do.
dumbass.
Still
He
do.
Still
Still
wasn't
do.
fired. 6 Super Bowl
Let me clarify.
championships
Let me clarify.
in
No, no,
Jack's
no, no, no,
lifetime.
no, no, no,
That's
no,
not
no,
enough
no,
for
no, no,
Bill
no,
Belichick.
no, no. Let me clarify. I said as the GM.
As the GM, he'll agree to that.
Yeah.
As the GM.
I just like getting you riled up. All right, so here's our super chat menu. $79 left to get to 500 before Tom Downey comes on and exclusively goes live on Rumble for NFL free agency day 3, winners and losers. Matthew Petey and I think you can make the argument we're the 2 biggest tanks in terms of drinking beers here at Chat Sports.
Yeah.
Here you go. Yeah, no. Mitch ain't on our level, I don't think.
I don't remember Mitch being with Chase and I till 1 a.m. watching U.S.
Olympic
hockey.
Yeah.
And we were just going to do like a period.
We thought
and
it
then
was
we were like,
Miracle
well,
on Ice again.
and then there was a point where like we came to the point, I don't know if you guys have ever been at this point where you're like, well, we drank more than we expected out of the case. So now it'd be rude to not finish it off. You know what I mean? There's just a couple lonely soldiers out there.
And this is after we were at a brewery taking down a couple flights.
Exactly.
My goodness, you just got to be built different. $5 beer cheers, $10 we'll talk about your team. We've really done that a lot today. Shout out to everybody for really supporting that, and you've enjoyed us talking about your teams, I guess. $15 roulette wheel spin, $25 we'll take some shots as we have some Fireball locked and loaded. $50 I'll take a shotgun, and look, I mean, a $50 super chat will get us closer to $500. $100 Das Boot, that'll officially get us there. 3 beers in a glass boot, and I get the hand pick. Anybody in the Chat Sports office to my left to come on and drink 3 beers in the span of a few seconds, which is really not a pleasant experience, but it is fun to at least watch. Tom's got winners and losers coming up on Rumble. The link is below, rumble.com/NFL Daily. We have really been growing like crazy in terms of sub numbers on the Rumble app. I'll get you updated with the latest.
We had 1,000?
It's almost there.
I last I saw it was like 850.
Yeah.
So help us out,
even
get us to
closer.
1K.
So if you go to rumble.com/NFL Daily, there you'll be able to watch Tom Downey break down winners and losers from day 3 of NFL free agency. But also, when you go to that link, there's a green subscribe button. Hit that. 976 people are subscribed. Ooh. Can we get to 1,000 before Tom breaks down winners and losers live on Rumble? It's all up to you. We like accomplishing goals together. Let's accomplish another milestone live here on Chat Sports. Rocky Ramirez, $2 super chat. Julio Jones to the Raiders. The Raiders are in need of a wide receiver. I don't know if they go with an older player in Julio Jones. They lost Zay Jones. And outside of, some of the weapons on that roster, they could definitely use some wide receiver upgrades. There's no question about that. I just don't know if Julio Jones is going to be in the cards. Now, will he go to Las Vegas and take a team-friendly deal to compete and play for a good offensive mind and Josh McDaniels? Maybe. What do you think about that fit?
I'm just thinking that the Raiders, you can never rule out a position group for them in trades, free agency, or draft. It always seems like no matter what position it is, they're looking to upgrade at it, and so is the fan base. So lose Zay Jones. Hunter Renfrow is really the only key wide receiver returning that's at least reliable. So I don't hate the idea. And also, Vegas all of a sudden has become a hotspot for players that I don't want to say don't take it seriously, but it seems as if there's enough chatter like this is like vacationing but still working a little bit. So Vegas has that fun aspect to it. If Julio Jones wants to get paid $4 or $5 million and hang out at the casinos a little bit and play for the Raiders, by all means, I don't think that'd be the worst move out there if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, good question from Rocky Ramirez. He's got the Derek Carr avatar there. Mitchell Wren's live on the Raiders Report right now in front of a few thousand people, slugging down some beers, taking some shots, interacting with Raider Nation, having a good old grand time. Biggest NFL free agency winner so far? Let us know in the comment section here on NFL Daily on Chat Sports, and we'll give you some shout-outs here on today's show. We love interacting with the people. We kind of treat the comment section like a Sports Talk Radio call-in line, and this is your opportunity to get shout-outs, be a part of the show, voice your opinions, and chime in. So do so right now. I'm looking at Why Big Jordan, Bottom Boy Phelps, Philly Special, saying the Jags.
They've been the busiest.
They've been the most aggressive. They've been the most busy. They've maybe spent the most money. Are they the biggest winner? I think they've overpaid for a lot of players because they want to stay aggressive.
I think they're one Uncle Rico signing away from just blowing this out of proportion of just paying everyone. I mean,
Yeah.
Christian Kirk got way too much money, in my opinion.
Andrew Berry's burner, whoever lands Deshaun Watson. Now, winners and losers can be fluid. It can change when you make a trade for one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. There's no doubt about that.
If the Browns get Deshaun Watson and get Amari Cooper, that's your winner right there, right? But pretty much anyone that gets Deshaun Watson is going to be top 5 in NFL winners and losers for free agency.
All right. Seeing Watson to the Saints from Retrozen. Bucks with Brady unretiring. It's not a bad point. And Shaq Mason for a 5th-round pick. $8 million that you're paying him this year for one of the premier guards in the NFL, and the going rate this year has been between $10 and $15 million. I love that move for Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
Bucks
Producer
for
Jack.
sure with Shaq. Joe Scotto, he agrees. L2 Clouds, sign me, please. Can you play L2 Clouds? I know you can bring the heat in the comment section. Abraham, where is Tom? He is getting ready to go live on Rumble only, breaking down NFL winners and losers for day 3 of free agency. Rumble.com/NFL Daily. Plug in that link, subscribe. It'll take you there, and you'll be able to watch your boy Tom live. Let's see.
Get some other ones here. Bottom
Yeah,
Boy
go ahead.
Phelps. Yeah, I'd rather keep CP and Ngakoue than I was talking about the Falcons there. I like for you. I thought he was a good linebacker for Atlanta. That's a good move right there. Burton Spade, what's up, Chat Sports family? What's up to you, big guy? Dino Nuggets, 22 Ravens. Yeah, Marcus Williams and Zadarius Smith. That'll put you in the upper echelon. Woke Queen with the Chargers. The Chargers are an interesting one. Let me expand on that because they've made some big moves. J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack. But we've also seen this Chargers team make big moves around a franchise QB like Phillip Rivers, and it never translates to postseason wins. So I'll believe it when I see it for them. That's my only reservation on that one. Taco Frog 88 Cards winners, but they got Colt McCoy back. Colt McCoy was good that one game. He spotted Kyler Murray, and they beat the Seahawks, I think. They beat someone in the division.
Yeah.
Was it the 49ers? I can't remember. Colt McCoy had that Colt McCoy game. That was a good one.
No, yeah, Arizona beat the Niners.
Yeah,
Colt McCoy.
and Trey Lance played, didn't he?
Yeah.
Was that later?
No, so Lance played his first start
Against
in Arizona, but then Colt McCoy led the Cardinals on the road at Levi Stadium.
That
and
was
took them
it.
down. Yeah.
Yes, okay. And then Mighty Allen, Arizona Cardinals have been quiet. Well, I guess so a little bit. I feel like they made some moves, but they have not gotten any big blockbuster guys. They lost Christian Kirk, but I don't know. Maybe Allen Robinson comes to the desert, helps out Kyler Murray a little bit right there. The Eagles. Yeah, what do you think of the Eagles so far, Chase? That's
I like what
one
they've
of your
done. I
favorite
think they have
teams.
the best value deal so far in free agency. You got a premier pass rusher for $15 million per year, a guy who can get after the passer but also drop back in coverage. And he also returns home. Like, he's from Camden, New Jersey, right across the bridge from Philadelphia, went to Temple University, really flourished under Matt Rule. I really like that pickup. I'd like to see them go after another wide receiver, maybe a Juju Smith-Schuster. Allen Robinson might be a little bit too pricey. They were a finalist along with the Baltimore Ravens for Marcus Williams. I would have really liked that. We also have a huge development here live on NFL Daily. You know who I'm seeing in the chat? Burnin' Spades is back. The legend Burnin' Spades is in the building. Shout out to Burnin' Spades. We missed you. It's been a little while.
Got some other ones coming in. Devin Macklin. Bears go for Juju or Julio. The Bears need a receiver. And they're not bringing Allen Robinson back, so you look at the next best option, and that may be Juju Smith-Schuster. So I think Justin Fields just needs someone to work with because Darnell Mooney and a rookie wide receiver is not a good choice, not a good route to go down if I'm Chicago. Trying to help Fields, I wouldn't say rebound from a bad rookie season, but if you just box score hunted and look at his stats, you'd probably be a little underwhelmed. He didn't get a ton of help from his front line, but still. We got some other we got some super chats coming in, so we'll get to that in a moment.
Alex Ingold to the Miami Dolphins.
Fullback move there. Fullbacks are still alive, baby.
Fullbacks are back, man.
They're back. Who's back of the week?
Fullbacks are back, yes.
Yeah, PFT commentator's happy about that one
True
right
football,
there.
guys.
But here's the issue with that move. The Dolphins over running back, really. Right?
They signed
they signed someone.
Chase Edmonds.
Okay, Chase Edmonds, but I don't know if he's your true bell cow back.
No.
That's been they need to improve that spot to help Tua out. Tua is one bad season away, and he's already had some rocky starts to his career from just being done in Miami, it feels like. So
Alec Ingold basically going to be Mike McDaniel's Kyle Juszczyk, essentially.
Yeah, that's a good point there. You know that McDaniel likes to get creative with the run game.
Yeah. Some super chats that have come in. We'll get to those here momentarily as we continue to go live here on NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Live for 8 hours on Monday, live for 6 hours yesterday. So far today, we have been live for 3.5 hours as we continue to do things that other people ain't doing. That's why we continue to grow like crazy and give you the best NFL free agency coverage. Zaxter99, $5 super chat. Cheers after I read it. PD right now. If the Cowboys get Miller signed, is he better than Gregory? Any new info on the Von Miller signing? So really, the newest information on that front is the Los Angeles Rams are believed to be the leaders in the clubhouse for Von Miller. Obviously, for Dallas, you lose Randy Gregory, who spurned the Cowboys, went to Denver, and then the Cowboys tried to really get him at the last minute this morning, but Gregory standing firm with staying in Denver. But you replace him with Von Miller, it'd be a pretty good acquisition. But we know this by now that Dallas doesn't really spend a lot of money, big-time money, on external free agents out there. But Von Miller, I think, can still play. Has to pick and choose his spots a little bit, but 9+ sacks last year.
Yeah, and the thing with Von Miller is just the age factor, right? Is Dallas one player away from winning a Super Bowl? And it's a bit reminiscent of the J.J. Watt deal in Arizona. I think that would be the type of contract-ish for Von Miller. And like you said, Jerry just doesn't like to make these kinds of moves, but he may feel the pressure after letting Gregory slip away. And is he better than Gregory? He's not younger. When they play their best football, Von Miller absolutely is better than Randy Gregory, but you're looking at one guy who's in his mid-20s and one guy who's in his 30s, so that's a big factor in NFL GM's eyes.
Appreciate that $5 super chat from Zaxter99. We're up to $428 in super chats. Can we get to 500 over the next couple of minutes? That would be a monster milestone for us here at Chat Sports. It's your opportunity to help get us there and continue to support everything that we do. It's a big reason why we're able to push out free daily videos and multiple videos per day, for that matter, on the NFL, NBA, as well as college football. We also have 1,355 likes with 1,800 plus people watching live. If you're having a good time, if you're enjoying our coverage, if you're having fun during NFL free agency, hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Can we also get to 1,500 likes? We're 100 and now 40 people away from 1,500 likes.
Let's see the live
Let's
tracker.
ride.
Oh, there's 1,369, so it's somewhere Tom is celebrating.
Oh, Tom
That's
always
his favorite
loves
number.
The 69.
Yeah,
yes, he does.
He's 12 at heart,
Yep.
even if his beard says otherwise, and the child with it, too. Now we're closing in on 1,400, so hit that big thumbs up icon if you have not already, because we've got more action coming your way here on NFL Daily at rumble.com/NFL Daily, but make sure you hit that thumbs up icon. If only the chat circle on YouTube live streams was actually real, or, that would be very exciting for NFL
or
right
as
now.
Gamer Dude would hope, the Discord service.
Yeah. Trip Ace says Dallas getting nobody. That's the fear.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, if you weren't with us, in the NFL, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards.
No doubt. And if
And
you're
the
in quarterback
Cowboys-
purgatory, you're screwed.
The Cowboys feel like they're standing still, and actually they're losing bodies, and they'll try to replace them with draft and cheap free agent signings, but That's not going to sit well with
Yeah.
the folks here in Dallas.
You know, the thing is, too, I think Dallas's roster, in which they went down in the divisional round of the NFL, or wild card round, of the NFL playoffs, it's worse now than it is. And Dak Prescott has less help. So that's pretty nutty. Do want to pass along this information. We're going to be going live here on YouTube for another 6 minutes or so. But then Tom Downey is going to go live exclusively on the Rumble app. You see that link down below? That'll take you there. Rumble.com/NFL Daily. And he's going to break down free agency day 3 winners and losers. There have been a plethora of moves all across the board for really all 32 NFL teams. So he's going to take and dissect which teams won the day, which teams are also losers, but he's only going to do that on Rumble. So rumble.com/NFL Daily. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers, 988. So 12 people away from 1,000. You see that link down below once more. Rumble.com/NFL Daily. When you go there, make sure you hit the green subscribe button to get us to 1,000. If we get to 1,000 before Tom goes live on Rumble, it's going to be a pretty awesome feat.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what Tom has to say about day 3 because day 1's always the most exciting day, but now that a lot of these moves have been made official, there's still a sneaky amount of good guys out there. So I want to see who Tom has as his biggest losers because I'm curious where he put his own Cowboys because I hope he has them towards the bottom after 3 straight days of pretty much crickets coming out of Jerry World in Arlington.
Not only is that link down below, it's also in the chat right now. Rumble.com/NFL Daily. What'd you say, Jack? Okay, so in the last 5 minutes, we're going to talk about Petey's favorite move of the day and my favorite move of the day. Man, I'm really going to have to go back and canvas
we had
the landscape
Zadarius
here.
Smith go to the Ravens. That's most recent.
Chandler Jones to the Raiders.
Trying to figure out how the day started.
The Titans got rid of Julio Jones, so there's a lot of movement on that front, but that doesn't go down as a favorite. Yeah. The Bengals are re-signing Michael Thomas, not the Saints' Michael Thomas, the defensive back. That happened over the last few minutes.
Trying to find some more moves here.
I mean, if Jarvis Landry goes to Atlanta and then Deshaun Watson goes to Atlanta, that's a cumulative type of move there. That would be great for the Falcons.
Other moves that were made, this is yesterday. I like Tyrod Taylor. I know it was day 2, so I'm cheating a little bit. But that adds some stability to the Giants because they don't really know how much confidence I think they have in Daniel Jones, especially when you. How about J.D. McKissick? He pulled a 180.
Yes, he
we
did
saw
a Frank
that.
Gore.
Yeah, he pulled a Frank Gore. Opted to come back to Washington. So that's a nice gadget player. I like J.D. McKissick and what he's done. He's the kind of guy that if you get him on your fantasy team for the right week, you love him.
Yes.
And then the next week, you're like, 1 reception?
Yes.
What was that about?
Why did I pick him up?
Exactly. So that's a move that's maybe a good value. 2-year, $7 million deal.
Definitely.
Help out Carson Wentz a little bit there.
Yeah, he's going to need it because that offensive line is not good. But if you have a back that can catch the football a little bit, that can serve you well with the weak offensive line. Okay, so a couple of minutes left here on YouTube as we are still live with an audience more than 1,600 people, almost 1,700 people. All of you making today's show a part of your day. Really appreciate that. Hold on. Some people are saying some stuff in the chat. I need to confirm if these moves are happening. Okay, I haven't seen any recent moves yet.
That's what I'm saying. The chat can be.
We're not going to get got by people in the comment section.
Mitchell Wren's got bad.
I just wanted to make sure because if one of the moves happened, it was going to be very significant for us here at Chat Sports. Okay, so a couple minutes left here on NFL Daily by Chat Sports. I'm going to give my biggest and most favorite signing of the day, and then Matthew Peterson is going to offer his takeaways for his favorite signing of the day. Look, the Raiders understand that with a new regime, Josh McDaniels coming to be the head coach, and everything going down in the AFC West, with the Broncos getting Russell Wilson, the Chargers being uber aggressive, and the Chiefs just being the Chiefs with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and the crew, that they had to make some moves. And up to this point, they were really silent. Now, early this morning, they signed defensive tackle Bilal Nichols, but they pick up Chandler Jones. And Chandler Jones teaming up with Max Crosby is going to give the Las Vegas Raiders an excellent pass rush. Now, they traded away Yannick Ngakoue, but in doing so, they got back Rock Ya-Sin. So I like this deal for the Jones aspect, but also Rock Ya-Sin as well, because you get a premier edge rusher and you get a really good cornerback who I still think is going to continue to get better.
And my final move, I'll go with the recent ones, Darius Smith. Good value right there. It's at $35 million for 4 years. You get a pass rusher you have some familiarity with. And if you didn't miss last season, we're looking at a guy who could have had 3 straight seasons with 10-plus sacks. So that's going to be my favorite move. The Ravens get some help, especially with, potentially Deshaun Watson joining that tough AFC North division.
Let me ask you this question, folks. As we've been live for 3.5 hours today, 8 hours on Monday, 6 hours on Tuesday. Who else has done what we've done where we've been live all throughout NFL free agency? Subscribe to us here at Chat Sports for the best NFL news and rumors coverage. And we're going to be going live tomorrow as well. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv. Now what we're going to do now, Producer Jack, am I just throwing it to Tom Downey on Rumble doing winners and losers? Tom Downey on the Rumble app now, breaking down NFL free agency day 3, winners and losers. Join him over there.